imagination zone.
Are you a curious Homo sapiens sapien erectus living on planet Earth? Well, so are we. So why don't you pull up a chair, get on in here? This is the podcast for empathy and imagination. There's still plenty of room. Why don't you come on in here? Linda, I see you. Why don't you come on in? Matt,
Yeah, Linda, come sit down.
Matt, come on. Simon.
Zerdarp, get over here.
Simon Tarsus, I see you. Why don't you get over here?
Jazanthropus.
Come on in here. Pull up a chair. Open up your ear holes. Join us.
Frausenkow. Folks,
Right.
if you are enjoying a beverage, please go ahead and do that. We're doing that here as well. And vapors and our smokes.
Simultaneous sip. Here we go.
Yeah. Cheers. So here we are.
It's good.
The podcast for empathy and imagination. My name is Drew Clark.
My name is Aubrey Cloutier.
You know, we've been doing this podcast now for, what did we say, 3 years? 2.5?
Yeah, 3.
3 years. And
Well,
it's
our first episode was you were still in Richmond.
Yep, we did several there actually.
So how long ago was that?
Yeah,
3?
Yeah, at least
3.5?
we've been doing this like 3.5 years,
Pretty cool.
and it's all about to change.
This is episode 80 something.
Yeah, episode 80 something. I mean, that's with some breaks mixed in.
Some
you know?
breaks. We haven't hit every week, people. We're running this out of garage.
Yeah, we're running it out of our minds too.
We'll be running it out of garages separated by vast distances.
Yeah,
So that's a thing.
Yeah.
We talked about that a little bit last time.
but here we are on the as pre-described, something like the penultimate or secondary.
Yeah.
We're on the cusp of a big change. And, you know, it's not just a change in our lives, it's a change in our culture and society. And Aubrey and I are going to be living thousands of miles apart in just a few weeks,
Yeah.
you know?
Yep.
Maybe we should check the fuck in.
Let's check in on that.
You got a ding anywhere in there? Is there?
Let's do this one. Checking in.
Go ahead.
You know, you make a big move across the country, and you gotta quit your job and tell every band that you're in you gotta leave. People have been very supportive, though, which is nice. Makes it a little easier when people are supportive. So that's good, and I have a lot of good references, personal and professional references, which is nice. So I'm feeling I'm sad-abrating. Feel very kind of wistful, leaving the things that I've built up here in the Bay Area. It's a little sad, but it's also exciting to embark on a new phase of the journey.
You have sadness, you have excitement, anything else going on in there?
Oh, a little trepidation, a little cautiousness, a little, mostly cautious around driving cross country.
With True Blue.
With True Blue, my minivan.
Do you have a picture of True Blue?
Do I? I think I do. I think I have a Burning Man picture.
You could probably pull one up too.
Let me pull that up while I talk.
So you're going to be driving this old vehicle.
2005.
Yowzers.
2005 Town and Country. It's got about 250,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not familiar with engines, that's a shitload. But the engine feels good. The transmission feels good. But, you know, I'm just a little worried about it.
Yeah.
But I think if it does break down, I'll just get towed to a U-Haul place and then just transfer my stuff and go.
Just give it up there, yeah.
Or maybe not even U-Haul, just some rental car place.
Yeah, this will be...
Because U-Haul is like insanely expensive to go across country.
Mute this, actually.
It's like $2,000.
But We're going to be showing it. This is True Blue. Actually, the burn.
got
I
it.
realized I have a little video there.
Nice.
We're going to get there. It's there under the little. You can't see my finger because I'm not. There he is. There's Aubrey. Look at that. This is our setup before. I'm trying to double screen this shit. That's not working. So yeah,
renting a U-Haul is like $2,000.
but it depends on where you are.
Yeah, I mean from here to Boston, it's $2,000.
Here's True Blue. It's coming up right here.
But I don't think I will have that much stuff for. I just need a van or something.
2005 Town and Country V6
Mm-hmm.
5-speed.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. Sweet hog. Been to the burn. Totally died leaving.
Yeah.
But it has risen again. It was just a radiator, basically, right?
Yeah. Faulty
Yeah,
radiator
that's my
fan
van.
and radiator sensor.
Yeah. Okay.
The back, one of the tires is completely bald. Probably get that fixed. Or
Yeah.
replaced.
You might want see, but I'm a guy who does used tires. I don't know if
Roscoe's?
actually I've abandoned. They've really dropped out. I have another spot in here, Panola. Actually, it's called Cortez Tires. They are pretty good. They're pretty good.
Yeah, what was it? A Roscoe. First time I went there, it was like $35 for a tire.
Yeah.
Second time, I got 2 tires, and it was like $180 or something.
Oh.
I was like, what?
Yeah, they got weird when they moved.
Yeah.
They moved and got weird.
They moved to like a shittier, like a more inconvenient.
way
place.
less convenient location.
Yeah.
What were
Maybe
they
I'll go to
thinking?
Cortez.
Maybe go to Cortez.
Think I should buy 2 or just 1?
2.
I only need 1.
But your right rear is soggy, right?
yeah, that's the soggy one.
But you want freshies up front. But you're about to put a bunch of weight in the back.
Yeah.
So you might want 4 used ones. Call it $300, you know. Mounted and balanced. Be less than that probably.
Yeah, I could do that. I sold my bass amp recently.
What?
I know.
What?
Fucking crazy.
You sold your bass? You don't have a bass amp right now. What the hell?
Sold it to my bandmate. That's okay though. I mean, it's I got a good price for it. And that's a big heavy piece of equipment. So, I'm actually kind of glad.
You got what it was worth?
Yeah. Yeah, so that was good. It's just the logistics of doing all that stuff is so overwhelming sometimes. Selling
feel a
this
little
and that,
overwhelmed,
you
yeah.
know. And then you're like, oh, okay, I don't have that much stuff. But then you start packing it up and you're like, oh man, I have a ton of shit.
Yeah. We just
Start
acquire
finding-
shit.
You just start finding other things that you have. Oh, all this stuff
Yep.
in this room and that room and no. So it's a process.
Yep.
But yeah, that's sort of my check-in is just dealing with that stuff and wrapping everything up.
Yeah.
Jobs, bands. I'm still practicing with the Orville because we're breaking in a new drummer. So I'm
Well, I was
sort of as a courtesy.
Yeah, I was wondering what you were doing there at practice. I was like, what do you mean you have practice? You're leaving.
And it's like, you know, of course it like keeps getting better. You know,
Yeah,
like,
of course.
like,
Of course.
Our like the room mic that we're using now for recording. One of the guys is bringing, you know, he's like upped his just sort of in the room recording, and like that's all great. So of course, all that stuff's getting better.
You know,
Songs are sounding better. And like, yeah, it's kind of, it's it brings a tear to my eye.
You feel a tear. Do you feel the tickle in your throat, but it's not a tickle, it's a pinch?
Yeah, especially during some of the songs, like where we're doing harmonies together, and I saw Orville sort of turn away. I could tell that he was getting a little choked up.
You gotta squeeze that button. You gotta hold it down. So, you're checked in. My check-in
Pretty
is
much
basically
checked
the
in.
opposite of your check-in because,
Yours is like, you're here building a new life.
yeah, I'm settled. The baby's good. Everyone saw this. Look at this. Have you seen anything cuter than that? You probably have. Like if you have a kid.
This is June
just the
having some
mirror.
bath
Just look at
time,
this.
huh?
I
Why
mean,
is
look
this
at it.
June having some bath time, huh?
Where is that?
Oh,
It's our sink.
Oh, you have like a little
cuter,
basin.
huh?
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Oh, you
though.
licking
We just
stuff?
take her in the shower with us.
You licking stuff?
So she's freaking adorable. But the thing is, everyone keeps asking me, rightfully so, Drew, how do you feel since you're like super good buddy, longtime accomplice? Like, I mean, you've basically been in my presence more than most people in the last 4 years or so.
It's true. Partners in crime.
Bike Order Warriors. It's kind of good. Empathy and Imagination. The guest speakers.
Yeah.
Like, so many things. And the thing is,
Those
those
properties.
those don't die. We still get them. And Evan, you know, a friend of ours who was here last, is like, said, well, you guys, it would be cool if you rated the past and you dug up cool sections of this podcast and posted as like shorter clips. And just kind of did that, you know, twice
That'd
a
be
day.
fun.
I mean, that would probably, I think people would be, there we go. I think people would be into it. But I'm kind of like, is that rating the past? That's why I called it rating the past.
Yeah, I'm a little. You know,
I want to keep creating.
I want to keep creating, moving forward.
I would love it if there was a technological. I mean, we're like the. I mean, I don't know how many of you listeners actually have your own podcast, but even the really rich celebrities that I listen to about podcasts, they are constantly having technical problems. And the words they use are wires. There's so many wires. There's just wires everywhere. There's so many wires. And it's like that's our mantra. There's so many wires.
It's a lot of wires. But I think we can continue to do several of our projects remotely.
I think I was thinking
It
about
might even
this.
be more productive, like, but it's kind of good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
just like,
I'll
oh.
record drums and guitar to something, and send it out to you and go,
Yeah.
here's the notes I was in. Do something amazing, and maybe throw a Vox on it too if you've got the time, and then maybe I'll throw a Vox and we'll release it. Like that's
Yeah.
totally doable, and actually
Bike Order
maybe
Warriors,
faster.
Bike Order Warriors, you know,
You're
we
gonna have
just-
to take trips out here because we can't do Bike Order Boston, or can we?
No,
Can I
we-
come out there?
We're gonna
with
have to have different teams, so you'll have to recruit people, and I'll have to recruit people. Bike Order West and Bike Order East.
See, that's the sexy idea. I like that. That's the sexiest idea I've heard about what to do with Bike Order Warriors. But it's like,
It would be nice to have maybe once a year some kind of
even if it was
Something.
Briones or Samuel
Yeah.
B. Taylor, just something like that.
just something.
Or it could be like Europe. You know, it could be
Oh, yeah.
really hard.
That'd be
But then it's like the money.
Canada.
So patreon.com/Aubrey Cloutier. Patreon.com/Drew Clark. You can go ahead and help us. And by the way, we would make it really great. You can go to youtube.com/Bike Order Warriors. That is spelled wrongly. BIKORDER. That's right. There's no E. It's like Bic Order, but
Bic Order, but
Yeah.
tricorder and bicorder.
so it's like bicorder, tricorder. You know,
Yeah.
it's multiple
It's kinda weird.
entendres. It's too many entendres. That could have been part of the problem why no one could find it. Bike
Yeah.
order.
Bic
There's
order?
No, Bic order? Yeah.
But you could, if I come out here for your brother's birthday bash,
We could probably do a trip on the bikes.
just like Shasta Lake in the summer. That sounds fun. And then also do some kind of bike thing.
It's almost like if
a
I could
week.
bring two bikes, like if I could bring my bike and another bike to the airport to pick you up, then we go straight to Shasta. We could probably ride up there and film it.
Yeah,
But can't
something
put
like
the
that. So,
yeah.
new beginnings.
I know. I'm just nervous. I've had
I know. It's
I've
hard.
had long distance relationships, not with friends, but with girlfriends, and it's been really terrible. But I think
That's
that's
a little
because
different.
that's what you're doing now. So, but then I'm back to happy for you.
Right.
I go back to that's what I was
I
doing.
don't want to do the long distance relationship forever.
No, you can't. So part of my mind in the empathy and imagination way is going like, I need to make room for that you're basically unavailable. Like my mind is telling me like, it would be really hard to expect much of a schedule from someone who lives in Massachusetts, like a weekly schedule, you know?
Not at first, especially not at first. Just
Yeah.
getting settled and
You got to find a job. I mean,
Find a
you're going
job
to be building your new live-in relationship.
yeah.
That's going to be like, who's cleaning the wiping the this and the laundry? Like, there's lots of things to figure out when you live with a partner.
Yeah. And they're probably going to move out of her place
Oh, yeah?
just because she has roommates. So that, you know. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on. Periods of transition, which I'm actually a big fan of Risk. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
Not,
I'm excited, too.
not Risk like irresponsible Risk, but
I would be more sad if we continued doing all the cool things we do and you never found love. That would make me more sad.
yeah.
That I just was like keeping you here. Not, I mean, I can't keep anyone anywhere, but
No,
if my tether was involved and you were vaguely dating some bitches occasionally, and like, that's not what I know that's not what you want.
Yeah, I mean, having
No
great
offense to bitches.
having a great time at the podcast or practice, and then going home and just not having anybody. You know, it's like
Yeah.
kind of want somebody to share it all with. So that's a fact. Jack, what was that little ringing poo poo?
We're getting my good friend from Burning Man has just messaged us live stream while we're doing this. He was like, hey, who was that NPC author you told me the name of? And so I might as well just respond.
NVC author.
Yeah.
You want to mention it on the stream?
Marshall Rosenberg.
Cool.
You know, good books, good videos, good audios. He happens to be Muerto at this time. He did, in fact,
did he?
pass away. Yeah.
That must have been just recently. Huh?
Mm-hmm. How do you spell Marshall? M-A-R-T-I-A-L?
MARSH ALL.
M-A-R-S-H-A. See, my strong
Field
points aren't
Marshal.
spelling. They are lifting up heavy things.
Lifting heavy things, communicating, empathizing, drumming,
Yeah, I can brew beverages well.
brew beverages.
And pools. I know pools and spas. We go, yeah, I can do that. There you go.
That-
There she is. Fuck yeah.
Like that desert backdrop.
When you're driving, this thing, well, so what really did happen?
You mean what was the real problem?
Yeah. After you were lied to by the shop in Reno.
One of the radiator fans had died, and the temperature sensor was messed up. So the temperature sensor was messed up, so the radiator wasn't coming on when it should have. So it was actually overheating.
It wasn't?
It was because the sensor wasn't working. The sensor wasn't working, so it didn't turn on the radiator when it needed to be turned on.
The fans.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, it was like a $600 problem in the Auto Motion in, I think Reno, near Reno. Fuck that place.
They were fibbers.
Super fibbers.
Yeah.
And I could tell because the manager came out to talk to me.
Mm.
And he was all glad-handing me. I
Huh.
was just like, this isn't right.
Yeah. Okay.
Not glad-handing. I guess glad-handing means you slip somebody a 20. Right?
I don't even know what
Glad-handing's
glad-handing means.
Maybe I'm not using it right.
Okay.
Anyway, I could tell that he was like bullshitting me.
Okay. Bullshitting. So, like,
the engine apart and we're going to have to machine the fucking gasket heads and all this stuff.
Whoa.
Total garbage.
It's like, if there isn't water in the oil, or oil in the water, you can keep going. Unless you've busted a bearing or something, you know.
Yeah. It was.
But that's just, I don't know. Does our audience care if I were to do, like, car verbiage? Because I can speak car.
Do we have an audience? Who cares?
Who cares? We do. There's a few people. Okay, so I'm finishing my check-in still.
Finishing your check-in.
Aubrey, I'm going to miss the shit out of you.
I miss you too, man.
And I don't know what it means for artistic endeavors in the future. I don't know what it means. I don't know what I'm even willing to do with, like, jankiness concerns.
Yeah.
Because we try to have, But maybe I'm fucking. You know
hard to
what? It's
predict.
a little unknown.
It's hard to predict.
It's really unknown. I'm trying not to expect too much, but I'll add in some hope and go like, hey, maybe there is this cool app where we can actually interrupt each other and it totally looks and sounds fine.
Yeah.
Maybe that's worth $10 a month. I don't know.
Hangouts or Skype there's a million video conferences.
Well, there's better ones now too. I've heard them advertised on podcasts. You know.
Okay. Zoom.
Yeah, Zoom. That's the one I was thinking of. Maybe Zoom's worth it instead of Switcher or something. Anyway,
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
so my baby's fucking cute. Pools are fine. I did have a thought on immigration that I made a video. Just
All right.
this is me spewing, and unfortunately you
Spew
can't
away.
hear it. So Aubrey can't hear it, neither can I.
Spew
So here's
away.
here's a check-in kind of like thought about immigration,
All right.
and
yeah.
after it's over, I'll explain what it said to you.
Okay.
Immigration. I think the argument is that you try to keep out like the people who are bad, who want to come in and do bad things, like they're drug dealers. People want to start gangs and stuff. I get that argument, but what I don't get is the base argument that there are a higher percentage of those type of people outside of America. America is filled to the gills with drug dealers and criminals and people who want to start gangs. I mean, not really. That's the thing. Not really. There's a few. I don't think it's a lower percentage inside the walls of America. So when we want to protect, put the walls up to isolate, it's almost like you're not including the global self-correction mechanism of immigration. I mean, because I don't know if we're going to be safer by keeping people out. I think it's probably the same percentage, 13 in 1,000 people want to, occasionally hurt people and start endeavors and enterprises that are for harm. Maybe. But that's everywhere. So let it flow. It might even be that people with that, the 13 out of 1,000 go somewhere together. Maybe they're just like, Gangsterville. It may just happen naturally. Who knows? Our audience can hear it. Okay, cool. Okay. So to sum up, I had this thought. Basically, some small percentage of every population of humans is difficult to work with. You could acronym that anything you want. You could call them shitheads. You could say assholes. You could say bitches. Whatever it is. I'm betting that ratio. Okay, so in America, what's the ratio in America of just fine people who try to get along to. Of course, there's great people on the spectrum too, but of that total 100 people out of that, how many do you think are maybe poop faces? Trying to do harm, maybe crime in a way that hurts people. They actually were I want a crime that hurts people. Or monetarily or physically in America. What percentage out of 100?
Out of 100, huh? Probably more than 1%.
You'd say around 2 or 3%?
Yeah. If you think about serial killers and
Mm-hmm.
also money, being a dick in terms of money,
Stealing old people's money and
murder,
stuff, all that, yeah.
Yeah, probably 2, but between 1 and 5%.
Let's call it 5.
5%.
See, and that's high. I
Group
think,
of 100 people, 5 of them have done weird, shady stuff,
or
crimes.
think about doing weird,
Or
shady,
even- yeah.
or plan on doing weird, shady stuff. My argument is that in other countries, it's the same ratio. I don't think America has a uniquely low ratio of dickheads. I think that the ratio of people who actually want to do harm to other people financially, physically, religiously, or otherwise is low. So what I'm saying is the fear of trying to keep others from passing through or entering your country is a fear that the higher ratio of dickheads is going to get in, because everyone knows, say, 95% of a population. They just want to eat dinner with their families. Like, really, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not what you think. So I'm saying, like, there's nothing to fear in immigration because I don't think it's dickheads that immigrate. I think all humans immigrate. And so the ratio from, say, Guadalajara or Canada, because there are Canadian dickheads, they're rare. It's more rare.
They
But
exist.
they could be coming down here going like, oh, I want to, have semi-consensual sex
Okay.
or something. And you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Who's more likely to flee? Someone who's a criminal or someone who's not a criminal?
To flee from what?
Just in general.
I think it's equal.
From their home or their city or their country.
Either
would,
I
would
would
a criminal be more likely to flee, or would just a normal person be more likely to want to move?
I think it really depends on the circumstance, because there's like, is there a war going on? I'm going to leave. Like in lots of Mexico places, you have the cartels, and then you have the federales, and everyone's paying everyone, and it's a fuck show.
Mm-hmm.
And I would want to leave certain areas of Mexico. Also, other areas of Mexico, I totally want to go to. You know, that's just an example. So it's like, I think there's
a prickly problem,
Mm-hmm.
because on one hand, we sort of need laws, right? We don't want people to be murdered.
In the meantime, I believe laws exist for a purpose, but my eventual vision for culture wouldn't require anything like laws.
How does that work?
Well,
If someone gets murdered,
that's a long one, because what I'm going for is more like
someone in the
measuring-
community murders another person in the community. What do we do with that person?
It would there would have to be a code of. I mean,
So
there need to
code.
be a built-in code.
So a law,
Sure, but
because
no, it's not okay. Because
in terms of
no,
chimps will kill the murderer. Chimps
But here's
will
the
just kill
point.
the
My
guy.
point is, trying to write on a wall things not to do doesn't work. To provide,
It works better than everything else we've tried.
yes, and
Doesn't mean it's the final,
right.
it's the final solution.
It's
sorry
not.
sorry for that phrase, but
Final
it doesn't
solu-
mean it's the best solution.
You're right.
It
We're
just means
agreeing.
that so far that's the best we have.
So far, it's the best we have. Agreed.
So-
And moving, I envision for the forwardness to include all the good things we got from that, all the things we learned about punishment and the justice system
Yeah.
and mental health problems and criminal mentality, prison, and move forward into a system that is more aware of human psychology, let's say. It's kind of how
Yeah.
people work.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
We just test it. We test it small.
Test small, test slow too. I'm not
Test
trying
small
to
and
rake.
slow
I'm not trying to
and-
burn the whole thing down. I'm
Yeah.
saying let's make a change. Like, could we make a financial incentive so that the industrial prison complex investment has an incentive to rehabilitate? If there's like maybe that's like a little just a click on the thing, because right now there's no incentive. There's an incentive for them to recidivate over and over and over.
I'm all for immigration. I just think it should be legal. That's all.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm fine
all.
with that. Yeah.
Because then, I mean,
Well, you've seen the signs
it's
in the
such a
front
prickly
yards.
problem, because illegal immigration is at the end of the day, the primary people it's hurting is like young black men,
Oh yeah. Well,
teens trying to get a job.
young, underprivileged, maybe inner city, maybe not white people.
Young people trying
Or
to
the
get
most
an
hurted by-
entry level job.
I hear that. I guess I hear that. Yeah.
So, yeah, let's have immigrants. Let them be
Well,
legal.
we're all immigrants.
Let
in
them
America.
be legal.
Yeah.
Well, we're colonists. We're not immigrants. There's no government for us to immigrate to when America was around. We were colonists.
let
We
me
came and we fucking conquered by the sword.
Your folks
Also, by the way, the Indians were warring with each other forever.
oh, totally. I know.
But
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't immigrate to a place that is a wilderness that has no government.
That's true. I guess you could colonize that kind of a
So
place.
that we are
Yeah.
all immigrants. I get it. but we're colonists.
So we're colonizers. I bet actually you and I are probably pretty close to from the same-ish, we're all from Africa, but then people went up to Europe and
Right.
then Asia. Right. So I bet
France,
you and I are pretty close.
So me, by way of, I think I have a lot of relatives that were Southern people, but Zachary Cloutier was the guy who came from
What century-ish or decade?
the early 1800s, came to Canada, had a bunch of kids, and then from there,
You met a hot chick.
from
Would you
there
please
they
send
all
me a
trickled
silver?
down into
May I please request?
into America.
Okay, that's awesome.
So yeah,
We have it, as far as I know, my great aunt traced it back to one woman who came from Ireland by herself in the 1600s.
Huh.
And then that went on and on and on that side of the family, which is only part of my family, but that's like one thing.
Where did she come to? Probably, probably East Coast. Cause
East Coast.
There was
East Coast, and then
That's the only thing that was around in the 1600s.
Then
Pennsylvania.
my grandpa was born in Indiana.
Huh.
Yeah, but then they moved because mom was sick. My grandpa's mom was sick. They're like, let's move to California for the weather. Literally, they were like,
That was
it'll help her feel better.
That was
It's the
such a
sunshine.
thing. Yeah, that was such a thing.
So grandma was sick, and they moved out to San Francisco, and then they settled in Redwood City, and my grandpa got married and had my mom. So blah. Yeah.
So yeah,
But I'm like a third French also. So
sounds like trouble.
oui, parlez-vous français?
So
Avec moi.
the immigration thing, it's so prickly, it's so
But-
complicated, and
Well, then let's.
it's so touchy.
If you leave a country, you're immigrating. To where you're going,
Sure, right? Yeah.
that might be a little more arbitrary. So, say if you were French, but then your French ancestors came to America, they were immigrants.
Yes.
So were
In that
mine.
sense, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if you were, you can't immigrate to a wilderness.
Yeah, because
Just being technical
immigration
about
is about where you're leaving,
Someone
not where
has-
you're going.
Yeah.
Immigration's it's about if you're leaving a country, like okay, say
That's not to excuse all the terrible, horrible things that we did to the Indians.
no, but you're having nuance. I
But
get
it's
your
like,
nuance.
let's fucking move on.
well,
That's
let-
again,
yeah.
this is where the battle is won, right?
Mhm.
So, the sooner we can actually get past a lot of the victim sort of culture, grievance culture.
Mhm.
I think it's better for everybody. I think it's just better for humanity to like let bygones be bygones, right? Forgive and
as a skill,
not
yeah.
necessarily forget, but just forgive and be like, that was a huge blunder.
Mhm.
Totally fucked up. Let's move on. Try to work this out and get along.
It's an importantly huge skill.
And I think America's been pretty good about that. Civil Rights Act, giving women
Oh, yeah.
the right to vote. Like,
Very good.
constantly on
Better
the
than any other country.
on the lookout of like, oh yeah, how can we improve this and this and this?
In a very slow way, but yes, faster. It's like super slow to us, but faster than everywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a little bit about perspective.
And the border, it's a contentious issue.
Well, yeah, didn't you have a topic about the border or something?
People are so anti-wall, yet there are plenty of countries that use walls to great effect. And the people that are against a border wall with Mexico don't really seem to care about other countries' walls. Or they
Well, it's
don't
like
know about it or
walls-
something. Like
Walls stop people without resources. Walls don't stop people with resources.
But you have a house. You have a house with walls.
Yeah,
Well,
we're
now-
in walls right now.
Now, why is that? Why
Because
do
we want to keep other people out so we can have this for ourselves.
But why?
Because I want to be with you here, and without other people, unless we have a guest or something, or audience.
Yeah. So walls actually serve a purpose, and they seem to actually serve a very. They're very good at serving that purpose.
It's like Do you like having walls in your bathroom?
Yeah.
I wonder, like, if there were
a
maybe
shower curtain or a shower wall.
Yeah, I wonder if there were people who were thinking about they were against the border wall, which I'm mixed at this point because there's so many people who want it that I'm trying to just not not ignore that there are so many people who want it. So I'm trying to just have space.
I think there are ways to do it where it could be a win all around. Imagine if you wanted to come to the United States through Mexico. You get to the border and they're like, yeah, just work on the wall for 6 months, and that's how you get citizenship.
Is that how Mexico's going to pay for it?
Or like,
Oy.
or establish like a trade zone or something.
In between,
So you could somehow there'd be an incentive to become a citizen.
you and I were talking about the same things. We're like, let's make it good and let's incentivize what we want,
Yeah.
and then have it be a legal path to citizenship. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, like if I wanted to flee America because it got so bad, which I don't think will ever happen in my lifetime, but if that were the case, I would think of Norway or Canada. Those would be like my top 2 picks. Maybe Australia. Australia's pretty strict though about certain stuff.
Australia is the future.
Australia might be the
Because-
future. There's so much space. It's so big.
It's so big and it's so hard to just invade. You need a fucking mega navy.
And good luck making the trip.
Get there. Just
Yeah.
to get there.
Oh my gosh.
So, if I went anywhere, it would be Australia.
They're really into homebrew there too. It's a big culture.
And they're
there.
sort of they're no nonsense, which I like. I do like Norway too, though.
Norway is the top couple cool European country. I know.
Canada's kind of fucked, politically. It's
So is Australia, man. Australia, they're fucking up over there politically.
the substitute drama teacher and part-time ski instructor Justin Trudeau, who is the Prime Minister of Canada, is like a complete joke now. I guess so is Donald Trump, but it's just hard for me to get down with Canada. I know that's where my forebears are from.
The thing is, I have lovely friends there, and I've vacationed in Canada several times.
It's easy to get
And I've had
back to
great
the
times.
States and-
It's been great. We've had so much fun. Like Adam and I have traveled to Canada twice together, just to do it. And we're like, let's go again to Canada. It's just cool. There's
Cold.
people are nice. It's cold. It's beautiful. Fuck architecture. That's
I
not,
like the
America
cold.
beats architecture all over.
Well,
but
Europe has the best architecture, to be frank.
Yeah, well, maybe. Also, Europe is cool at architecture. But no, what I'm talking about in Canada is like the nature. That's like fucking jaw-dropping. And there's bald eagles everywhere. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
So you can
You're
only
kinda
enjoy that
selling me
so
on
much.
this Canada thing.
But you can only enjoy that so much because it's always frozen and it freezes hard.
Yeah.
And 6 months out of the year, you couldn't grow anything. And it's like, it's a dead zone. It's a total dead zone.
Leaning more towards Australia.
That's why Australia, you would more need like greenhouses to protect your plants from the sun more than, it's a little bit more equator-ish.
And a fucking 71 CUDA, like in Mad Max or whatever.
Fuck.
I forget what he has in that
Yes. I want to fucking... just
Interceptor. That's what he's got.
Oh, it wasn't even a CUDA in Mad Max.
It was
But
an Interceptor, right?
I would take a 71 TA Hemi Challenger,
we
maybe
go.
blown,
we go.
probably 700 at the wheels, and I'd probably go like a 6-speed automatic, a new one. Basically, the new, put a new engine and drivetrain in an old, like a 71 Challenger.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be about right.
So, yeah, in Australia, you have to worry about getting punched by kangaroos, I guess. Not having enough shrimp on
Dingoes,
Barbie.
wallabies, too. There's a deer just were classified as nuisance animals in Australia too. This is recent.
And cane toads.
They're like
Is that
rodents.
Australia?
Maybe can you
Had
eat
that
them?
big cane toad overpopulation because they were an invasive species.
You can eat all of
They're like
this.
red toads. Like
And
this big.
honestly, how cool would it be to interact with the Aboriginal communities and hang out with them sometimes? How cool would that be,
I'm liking this Australia idea.
dude? And stand-up comedy, craft beer, huge,
island.
huge. It's a giant prison island.
People just tell it straight. Actually, I have a friend. The friend that I just visited up in Bend. He's got a special lady friend in Australia.
That's good. I
And
like
he
that.
He's visiting there like in a couple weeks, and he might actually move there.
I like special lady friends. He might go to Australia. Your Ben friend.
Yeah. So
Huh.
It'd be good to get some reports from him about it. But it's like everything I've heard about Australia is good. I mean,
Perth.
Crocodile Dundee.
Perth.
Cundy.
I'd probably go to Perth. In Australia. Perth.
Sydney, that big opera house. That's the one you always see, right?
Have you worked on your Australian accent yet?
Oh.
This is my Australian accent.
That's not a knife. This
You're
is
right.
a
If you're going to
knife.
speak Australian, you got to
Knife.
have basically you got to tighten up some of the muscles in the top of your mouth there.
Tighten it
And
up.
you get to kind of rule around the R's and make sure you got lots of space in your teeth, but you basically get it together. You get it together. And once you got it together, you write down the Barbie and have a high-pitched voice that's just so high-pitched.
Wasn't one of the lost people from Australia?
Good chance of it.
I don't know. Anyway.
I like mixing in the weird Cockney British accent, too. It confuses people.
Is that the McCartney?
But it was basically without the accent, just
Liv-
with the vocal tones.
the Liverpudlian. Is that what they call it?
Liverpudlian. That's the correct term. All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Anybody, you got any happiness?
Yeah,
for us?
I have some happiness for you guys. You ready for this shit?
Yeah, what do you got?
Quit messaging me, friend I like. Yeah, check it out. We're gonna bring it up on the screen. Aubrey, you probably are gonna be able to hear it. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. No. It's fine. Everything's fine. I love technology.
Everything's fine
I'm
here
perfect at it.
now.
Here we go. Yeah, you can't, here, can you, because I don't need to film it. Can you see it? Look at that.
Cool.
So for our people who were just listening, we just saw plastic bottles are functioning as glue. So there's this little company who's taking any old plastic bottle, water, soda, whatever, and they cut off the top and the bottom, so it's like a tube, and they slide it over like wood, and then heat it up, and then it melts down and turns into a glue. So basically, it's something. This I think is the first touch on what we've been talking about for years. We have all this fucking plastic trash everywhere, all around us. You have a baby? Oh my God! It's so much plastic.
Oh my God.
So what we were picturing is like you buy your trash. We are all buying trash all the time, and we have to deal with it.
I go to the grocery store at Home Depot and buy just bags of trash.
Yeah, just buy bags of trash. It's mostly trash.
I throw something in the trash, and then I'm like,
Burp. That was
"Do you mind if
amazing
I buy
burp.
that? Can I buy your trash? I like that.
I pictured that we would grind them down, put them in this thing, and they would 3D print out stuff in one machine.
Right.
That's
Okay.
like the
Yeah, yeah.
eventuality. This, I believe, is people using creativity to start that direction, because you already have a cylindrical thing which works well to bind things as glue if they're like, in a longitudinal or latitudinal sort of directive. So for our listeners at home, if you have no idea what we're talking about, it's like, how do we have trash? We're making trash every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm basically like, what's the Amazon box that everyone has 5 of in front of their house?
Yeah.
Like, what is their next purpose? There needs to be somewhere for them to go. And as far as plastic bottles, this is a start to have something to do that everyone can do, and it's cool and easy.
Or houses, like somehow the cardboard goes into little
Insulation?
modular insulation pieces. Something.
As long as they're sealed, maybe. They hold air. And air is a great insulator. So that's the point of insulation, is that it's
just
airy.
zigzagged,
Corrugated.
corrugated, zigzagged cardboard. Yeah, that's like the opposite of a resource problem.
Yeah.
It's like an overabundance, a wasteful over an abundance problem.
So don't you have a heat gun or a hair dryer? It's something, you just need like a heat gun.
And they were making chairs out of that.
Chairs, tables, shelves, and they're using, instead of nails, they're using the plastic and heating it up as a kind of to bond the wood together to make tables and shelves and stuff.
I like it.
So
Who is that doing that?
this is everyone can find this if they go to Facebook and go Zeit News.
Oh,
ZEIT.
Like a Zeitgeist project
Yeah,
thing?
totally. It used to be zeitnews.com, but now they just operate on Facebook, and it's Zeit News, ZEITNEWS on Facebook. So yeah, you can check out Zeit News. And
How is the Zeitgeist project going?
it's fine. But mostly
Is Peter David like bowed out of it? Or
no,
is he,
he's
Okay.
on regular
Okay.
stuff.
Good.
He's on regular TV shows, and he has a podcast that it's so funny because I know PJ. I just
Yeah.
know him because it's so overproduced. They have this podcast that they clearly took months to make each episode, and I'm like, guys,
The Culture in Decline one?
no, this is after that.
Okay.
This is a new thing.
I'm glad he's still doing something.
The
I
thing
guess I
is,
just haven't been paying
the
attention to what
podcast
he's
is a
doing.
little bit hard to watch.
Because
And
of his
It's
interesting
too-
word usements
no,
that he
no,
structures?
No. I
or-
love how he word usements. It's a little too sticky and produced. It's too produced and too sticky. So like the performances are bad on the like. Right now we're performing very good as podcasters,
very well.
and they didn't. So it was harder to watch.
Highly
Yeah.
produced, but they didn't have that much
Right.
experience. Or
And so I only watched the first 10 minutes of like the first episode, and then there was another one, and I was like, eh. I think they got the hint that it wasn't working. I don't know if they're making more. But of course, they're fundraising for the feature lengths, which will be
Is it making
films.
more
Well, it's
Zeitgeist
not,
movies?
It's not, yeah, but it's not documentary. It's going to be with actors and a storyline, and it's going to be that way. Yeah. So that's been like 80% funded.
The third one was sort of had that.
Well, we're melching into that. We are.
The third Zeitgeist movie
The third Zeitgeist movie
didn't
had
it have
actors.
like actors that was sort of interspliced with.
Yes,
with
but
the-
they didn't have a narrative. This will
Right,
be
right,
all
right.
narrative,
Right.
and it'll be in a resource-based economy. So it'll be like you've seen. We've played
See-
this on the show.
Yeah. So I'm down with this. I'm down with like showing me show me what it's going to look like.
Yeah,
Show
that's
me
what
the
we're trying to do.
resource-based economy.
That's what we're trying to do.
Like you can tell me about it all day, and I'll come up with arguments against it.
And there's a book too.
Show it to me.
His book's for free. You can download it, of course.
That's right. He came out with that book. Fuck,
He
I
wrote
totally
a book too. So he's totally kicking
I
ass.
totally zoned out on his whole.
Oh no,
thing.
So I've been a member of the Zeitgeist movement since December 2010.
There you go.
But no one's a member. You don't. I mean, there's no hierarchy inside the system. It's just people cooperating. Is all it really is. It comes and goes because it's hard to cooperate.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Nice little Zeitgeist upgate.
Mhm.
Upgate.
I have one more thing here. You got space for this?
Yeah.
India's launching the largest basic income experiment in history.
See,
Futurism.com. You guys here? You can follow.
again, let's
I'll
not.
bring it
Let's. We don't have to launch the largest one. Let's launch a small one and test it. By the way,
They've done lots of small ones.
they did test it in. I think it was Sweden or Norway.
Well, they
and
had.
it totally failed.
No, well,
They were like, "Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about,
Okay,
but I know of about 10 around the world
that actually worked."
that have had. Well, they've all worked. The results aren't in. It's too early to tell.
Okay.
It's basically like
I heard one that they declared it a failure because
I'm curious.
people were lazy, or it was just people weren't being productive. I forget the details of it, but
Well, you should pull up the facts on that.
I'm
babe.
glad there's more than one. I'm glad that they're trying it out.
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical about it.
I'm not. I'm like almost not skeptical at all.
Because it's like, yeah, that would be great. which is usually a red flag if something just sounds too good to be true.
Well,
That's where I'm coming from.
the thing is, there's
'Cause
no.
the money's got to come from somewhere.
Well, we've talked about this too. I don't want to dredge up the past, but I want to go ahead and bring up Andrew Yang.
Bring up your thing.
Do you know who that is?
Nope.
Yeah, you do. I've told you.
Bring up your little video. Andrew Ying?
Andrew Yang.
Yang.
Andrew Yang is there a little video? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, remind me who he is.
I got him here. You should be able to hear it. If you haven't heard, I'm selling stuff. Don't you want to buy things? Oh my god.
If enough Americans come together, raise our hands and say, yes, we want universal basic income, then we can make it happen in 2021, and it will be the first thing I do as president. Hello, I'm Andrew Yang, and I'm running for president to implement universal basic income in response to this incredible transition we're going through.
All we have to do is
for America.
all we have to do is raise our hands, and then we just have it.
Or just listen.
I know.
Universal basic income is a policy where every citizen gets a certain amount of money every month, regardless of their work status or anything else going in their lives. Under my plan, every American adult between 18 and 64 will receive $1,000 a month, free and clear, no questions asked, doesn't matter if you're working, not
Sorry, how much?
what your income
1,000.
is. $1,000 per adult per month.
Per
We're
adult
going
per
through the
month.
greatest technological and economic shift in our history, and we need to accelerate our society and government to keep pace with the challenges of 2020. We've already automated away millions of manufacturing jobs, and we're about to do the same thing to workers in retail, truck driving, call centers, fast food restaurants, and on throughout the economy. So this plan, the $1,000 per month plan, was studied by the Roosevelt Institute, which projected that it would grow the economy by $2.5 trillion per year and would create 4.5 million new jobs. $12,000 a year is enough to push an American up to just about the poverty line, which is a little bit more than $12,000 per year. So there's all of the big, it's going to grow the economy, it's going to create millions of jobs, it's going to create all of these new businesses, which it totally will. But I'm more excited about the fact it's going to help the single mother pay for their children's food and education. It's going to help children grow up to become more conscientious and agreeable and graduate from high school at higher levels. It's going to help balance the scales for women who do so much work that right now is not compensated, for underrepresented minorities who don't have access to the same opportunities and have less savings. The way the Freedom Dividend, which is what I call universal basic income, the way the Freedom Dividend is funded is through a new tax that will fall on the companies that are benefiting most from automation. So we need to shift to a value-added tax that would fall on companies like Amazon and the robot trucking companies, where a value-added tax, every other industrialized country in the world, except for the US, has a value-added tax. And through a value-added tax at half the European level, we could pay for a universal basic income of $1,000 per month for all Americans. A universal basic income will be the greatest catalyst to entrepreneurship and creativity and the arts that we have ever seen. Because when Americans have their heads up and can think about the future, they'll be thinking about the businesses they want to start, the organizations they want to create, and really what they want to see in the world. So right now, many Americans have a mindset of scarcity, which is that we don't have enough, there's not enough to go around, we can't afford it. But the truth is, we are the richest and most advanced society in the history of the world. Our economy is up to $19 trillion in size, up $4 trillion in the last 10 years alone. We can easily afford $1,000 per adult per month. This is the great equalizer of our time. Economic justice is social justice. There is no social justice without leveling the playing field in terms of how much money we get as Americans to be able to pay for our basic needs.
Huh.
Yes.
Hi.
Wow. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hey.
Pretty good. Did you hear any of that video?
No, 'cause I turned it off because I think it's weird. I heard value added tax. I can see it because I turned the volume down.
You got your volume on your end there?
Should I turn it up and listen to it?
Turn it down?
Down, yeah. We can sort of see you.
Oh, actually,
Is that good?
turn this down.
1 second. Thanks for standing by, folks.
All right, give it a try.
We have a guest. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, everyone, please welcome Claire.
ClaireO'ConnorArt.com.
Am I too loud?
You're
No,
perfect.
You're fine now.
So this, ladies, gentlemen, and otherwise, this nice lady is who is stealing Aubrey from me. This is who it is. She's stealing him against our wills. No, that's not true.
Heart theft.
That's not true.
Yep.
It's more like I'm so happy that he gets to be with you and do grown-up things like grown-ups do, like I'm doing, that it's just like I get it and I'm on board.
Cool. Cool. Hold on. I'm going to turn down.
/ I'm kind of sad.
Oh.
We were talking about, what were we talking about? Immigration, then Australia, then universal basic income. Any thoughts on any of those things?
If we leave America, we're going Australia, Canada, or Norway. Those are really my top 3. Perth. I'd like to go to Perth.
Can't do the wide shot.
Looks like shit.
Yeah.
Looks like straight shit when I do the wide shot. So I got it. It's right here. So you just go. How do you feel about Australia?
I've never been there. And yet, my friend, the one who is in Bend, he is going to visit Perth on the 23rd. So, yeah.
23rd?
So he was
That's-
thinking that he might end up living there.
That's like
Oh.
this Wednesday.
Yep.
How's your Australian accent? Have you thought about trying to get it better?
I guess I could try to get better.
You're right.
I don't know if
If you
I
could
could do it.
It's a
Bring
bit
some
tricky to do the
pulses.
Australian accent. You got to make sure to think about it, like wallabies, or perhaps
Yeah,
some
I like-
beer.
I like Australian movies. So,
I could
like
think
that
of
New
maybe
Zealand.
2.
I like New Zealand movies. Especially.
Okay, like Lord
Yeah,
of the
I could go to
Rings.
Australia.
Do you think it's possible that America would ever get so bad that you would feel the need to flee the country, like as an immigrant or a migrant?
When I was younger, I wanted to go live in Ireland because I went to school there, and I was trying to figure out a way I could do that.
You went to school in
And-
Ireland?
Mhm.
What
And
year
at one
or
point I
what grades or ages?
From 9, it was just like a year, like less than a year, but I like traveled around, so it was like from August of '96 to like end of January '97. So
Cool.
it was very cool. And I did get once, I went to Greece as a nanny, and I got offered, but it was really shady, an opportunity to go live there, which I wish I had taken up on. I just feel like I was scared at that point in my life, but I really shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Shoulda, woulda,
did
coulda.
Greece for a while.
But now you're settling down with my really good
Yep.
friend. That means no traveling
really
for you. That means no Greece for you. How do you feel about that?
Well, I was willing to go to California, but I guess here makes the most sense.
If you guys are trying to have babies, the thing is, here's a thought. It takes a while to have a human baby come out and then need grandmas and aunties around.
Mhm.
It's almost like you could say get pregnant in California and hang out for 6 months, do all the classes, the hippie yoga crap,
It's just
whatever.
that's a monkey wrench. It's
Yeah, it doesn't
the
work.
gears are
I
already.
know,
See,
I-
I'm
the
not
gears
serious.
are already turning.
I'm not serious. I'm more just like, I'm just thinking of
yeah,
ideas.
that is a possibility. That's sort of what my brother did.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was living out here, or his wife was living out here. His girlfriend was living out here. Then he moved out here. They got pregnant, and then they moved back. But she had the kid on the East Coast. You're saying you could wait after birth for a little bit?
No.
No.
I'm saying get pregnant in California, rent a little villa on the coast, be entrepreneurs, then as soon as you're, you plan your birthing place in Boston, and you have your grandma, everyone there hangs over the table, and you're squirting all kinds of liquids, and then there's all kinds of feelings. It hurts a lot. Definitely hurts a lot, but you'll do it. Every woman can do it. And then you guys have like the most beautiful thing you've ever seen in your entire life, and you just want to care for it all the time and do other cool stuff too. You'll want both.
Cool.
I think.
Well,
And how's that sound?
That sounds pretty good.
It does sound good. It was actually Aubrey that decided to come to Massachusetts.
And
Great.
good on him.
So I partially came out to California, to see Aubrey, because I stayed at my job, partially because I knew I had a week paid off. And then I knew I could take vacation time, so I came out for like 2 weeks almost. And I was like, no, let's see, let's make this real. And when we went up to Bend, it was Aubrey who said he was done with California. And I said I was willing to go to California, but he said he was done. So
The fact that you're willing makes it make sense.
yeah, I'm totally willing. Like if something came up, like a good apartment or something, I would just.
If you weren't willing, if you were like, you know what, I can't, me, then I'd be like, Aubrey, I don't know if you want to move there. The fact that you're willing to move gives me more peace and love for him moving to you, because you're a good person. I mean, of course you're a great person. Everyone knows that. She's probably been on the show more than anyone else.
Yeah,
she's the number 3 host. You're like the 3rd host of the podcast for Empathy and Imagination at this point.
Co-host.
No, I'm just a big fan. I like watching it because I'm
I'd be
very
the only
sad
fan.
that Aubrey. I don't want the podcast to die. Like I think.
Do you notice right now?
Audrey is always happy on the podcast.
Right? You notice how right now I love the podcast. If we could keep doing this, I will do it. We'll just schedule the time and watch me do it. The thing is, you talk and then I talk and then I try to interrupt what you're saying and then you try to, not interrupt, but just we're bantering back and forth and it's the step. I'm stepping over what you're saying and then you get interrupted and you have to wait and then it's like, that would be really hard to do with the main co-host of a show.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the time between us talking is a little weird.
That's what I'm saying.
That and it's like weirder in person. You can judge those things in a nanosecond. When to jump in and start talking or whatever. But it's just harder to do.
Yeah, it's always weird when I've called the show because I only have a sense of what's going on.
Yeah.
Like a small sense of what's going on with you guys. So. But I would like.
We were talking about universal basic income and moving to Australia.
I missed that. Although I think, having a living wage, people just being able to have transportation and childcare and food and housing. I mean, like that would be great. That would solve a lot of problems.
I actually have an article pulled up.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, has welfare solved a lot of problems?
Well, welfare...
welfare is I've worked with people on welfare, and it's not fun. You're not living it's a tough...
I know, but my point is just that, do we need more government intervention in my life? I want way less. Government shutdown?
No, I can see that.
Bring it on. I don't want even marriage. I don't want the government in my marriage. Why do they have to be up on that shit? So that's where I'm coming from. I just, do we really want more nannying? Can't we take care of ourselves?
The thing is, if it's cash, it's different. If it's stamps, food stamps, and you have to come to this meeting, like cash fucking talks. Cash talks. So governmental cash or criminal cash, like I'll fucking take it, dude.
Convince me, because I'm so fucking.
If I could get $1,000 more a month, that would radically change my life. Radically, for the better.
You being you, yes.
I would. You know what I would do with it? I would make greatness out of it.
Not everyone's like you.
Yeah, but
a lot of people just want to jerk off, smoke weed, play video games, eat McDonald's.
See, that's fine to do.
And that's fine.
One day a week.
If
you know?
were- yeah.
If you do that one day a week, you'll be fine.
You know what I mean.
I do. The thing is, I have more faith than you do. I think the
Sure.
shitholes,
Okay, there we go.
the shitholes is the 3%.
You're
the
more optimistic
3%,
about human
it's
nature than I am.
97% of the people getting a UBI will go like, check out my new business. Check it out.
I'm going to get UBI and a UTI.
Yep,
Same day.
that's right. You can PP your pantalones with cash.
I'm
You
gonna
can pee your cash,
I'm going to
everybody.
spend all my universal basic income on a urinary tract infection. What do you think?
Check it out. The largest basic income. The small Indian state of Sikkim is about to launch a basic income experiment that will provide cash payments to each of its 610,000 citizens.
Wow.
A pilot that the Washington Post says is the largest basic income experiment in history.
That's not starting small.
In developed this is like the 12th experiment in the last 2 years though. So in developed countries, the main purpose is to restructure or economize the existing welfare schemes like unemployment benefits. University of California at Berkeley economist Pranab Bardhan told the Post of the experiment, in low or mid-income countries like India, the rationale will be to address the minimum economic insecurity of larger sections of the population, not just the poorest, without touching the existing anti-poverty measures. Out front, tech luminaries including Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg have endorsed the ideas of basic income, and the Post points out as the idea for transforms the economy if more labor becomes automated. But actual experiments have been rare and limited in scope, making it ironic that the largest to date scheduled to kick off in India is far less affluent country than the United States. Progressive history. It's important to note that the details of the Sikkim's upcoming experiment remain hazy. It's not clear how each resident will be paid, and the launch date of the 2022 is still years away, but Indian politicians are hopeful.
Okay, cool.
It's a matter of political will, ultimately, said PhD Ray, a Sikkim's member of parliament. With the rise of global inequality, we want to ensure that we bridge the gap. Wow. Okay, so there's a short article, but there it is. And this is India launching its largest basic income experiment in history. So the thing is, this one sounds dodgy. It sounds dodgy.
I hope it goes well. I want this to work. I'm just very skeptical. That's all.
I'm more skeptical. This is not a sober podcast. I'm more skeptical about this one than I am about some of the other ones I've read about in the past, because they're like, how are they getting the cash? It's like, that's all got to be clear. It's got to be like, on the first, it's in your account. Like, that's it.
Direct deposit, like like unemployment or something.
Yeah, just it's in your account. You can pay rent, buy some veggies.
Yeah, I mean, it would
little bit of meat.
radically change people's lives. I don't know. The jury's out on it.
That's why we arm wrestle this topic on the show. The show where Claire is our third host at the podcast for empathy and imagination. We're like UBI, like it's important. And I'm just talking about technology moving us forward.
Okay, $1,000 extra bucks. Let's talk more fun terms.
Go.
$1,000 extra bucks a month. Claire, what do you do with $1,000 extra bucks a month?
Oh, I'd be super boring. I'd invest it or save it.
Well, that's also good.
That's great.
Yeah.
I would probably do the same, but I would take a little slice of it and just do something fun.
Like what?
Let's say $1,000. So I'd probably put most of it, probably put 80% of it away. So I have $200 left.
Okay. You put it in an IRA or something?
Yeah, crypto, IRA, spread it around. But then take 200 or 300 and, I don't know, take a road trip somewhere.
Okay.
Or get some psychoactive drugs. and then do float or something, do sensory deprivation or something. I guess I would spend it on an experience. Anything that I'm not investing in, putting towards an experience.
So you would be like, Claire, you'd be like, I just want to invest all of it. I would put every single penny into a Roth IRA.
Yeah, maybe I would do that because I do have one through work. Yeah, maybe I would. I think what Aubrey everything's pretty cool too. I also, pretty much the only thing I have to pay off is my car right now, but my like monthly payment's really low. Yeah, I'd probably save it. It'd probably be boring. Invest, save. But yeah, if I was going to spend it, spend it on experience. Like, I don't need more stuff.
Okay.
Well, that's interesting. What if the UBI was sort of pre-tax, so you could spend it on things, you could put it towards your credit and you wouldn't be taxed on it or something. So that it would incentivize you to pay off any debt first.
Oh, I would do that. That's what I would do. Oh, yeah. I have a bunch of debt, so that's different.
Just my UBI is going straight to the IRS.
Yeah.
Bye.
I would probably pump most of mine towards personal and business debt.
But let's say you didn't have any debt.
Oh, my gosh.
Let's say just normal life is going, you have no debt, you're making money, but suddenly you have an extra $1,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Put it away, save up for that nice drum set, that nice bass guitar, that nice...
No, I would save like half of it. See, I'm more aggressive. I would take like $500 and I would put it in a CD or something, or a money market, probably a money market, like at 3% or something. So I'd probably do like half of it, but then I would take the other half, and I would work on inventions, because like I have fucking ideas about hot tubs and
so
about
like resources
lots of things,
and like workshop materials.
Yeah, workshop materials, tools, maybe a shed. And like I would probably start inventing this shit I have bursting out of my brain.
I mean, once it's phrased that way, like you have an extra $1,000, it's hard to say that that's a bad thing, because everyone has hopes and dreams.
Well, you would take someone who lives in East Oakland who's just in a fucking bad situation, to no fault of their own, born into just shite. And all of a sudden, they turn 20 and they got a G, and they could rent a decent place to live in Antioch, and then they can move forward from there. You know what I mean? Like, you can get out of the craziness, get out of the whoever's relationships that aren't working.
I think
you can move forward.
I think there's that side and there's the other side.
Or like, let's just buy meth with it all day.
Or a killer, murderer. He's going to put it towards, weapons. Or
it basically amplifies the human spirit. It just amplifies the human spirit.
And so at that point, why don't we just not have it? And then wouldn't the net effect be the same? Because instead of everyone being at plus 1,000, everyone's at zero again.
Well, you have this growing inequality. You have it. All hierarchies tilt toward tyranny. It's just a fact. They all do eventually.
Totally disagree. How about let's go to our history buff on this one?
Yeah, what do you think?
Well, I agree with Drew about income equality. Well, I know, like, my mom, she grew up in a government project.
Well, I'm not denying that it exists, by the way.
Okay.
I do think income inequality exists, but I think it's inherent. It's a byproduct of capitalism.
Yeah, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying was, back in the 70s and the 60s, my mom grew up in a project that they ended up tearing down because it got so bad. But people like her, around the late 60s, early 70s, they were all, even though they were really poor, they were all able to like get a summer job, get a job, pay their way through community college, or just like get a good job with their family, and they're all able to leave. And she's friends with a lot of those people now. But now, if you grew up in like the same kind of project, in the same area, those people are stuck. And I feel like that's what's the problem now is that, I mean, I've worked with people that are so poor, they just don't have access to good food. They don't have access to transportation, which really limits the kind of work you do.
Yeah.
You don't have access to daycare, and in Massachusetts, the average daycare is $2,000 a month to $2,600 a month. So, like, one kid is going to cost you $2,600 a month to put in daycare. So, I think income equality, just having access to transportation, food, housing, daycare if you need it, that would make a huge difference, and people could You know, if you think about the kids that come out of college, their parents buy them a car, buy them a suit for an interview, they're going to do a lot better than a kid with no access to anything.
Okay, would universal
right
base
now they also medical care. People go bankrupt because of medical care.
Right.
All the time.
So
would universal basic
yeah,
income?
having that little extra could really make a difference.
Yeah,
in a lot of people's lives.
I don't deny that. Do you think that universal basic income would increase or decrease income inequality?
It depends.
I strongly think it would
sometimes
decrease. It'd take 5 to 10 years, but it would decrease. It would not be
That
the
would be the
first year.
hope.
Yeah. I think it would. Because you'd have people who are starving but creative falling on ideas that work, and 1 out of 100 of them are going to come up with a great idea, and that'll hire, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just, you'll basically be turning up the ability of humans instead of stifling down poor people, which is really what's going on.
Yeah. See, I disagree with that premise.
Well, there's a little bit
I
on
don't
both
think-
baskets.
I think income inequality would either stay the same or get worse with UBI.
See, he just doesn't believe in humans. Aubrey's, I have more faith in humanity.
It's not that. It's that a lot of the difference between people who are poor and people who are rich is, again, the battle is here. It's ways of thinking that are that need to change more than just dollar bills.
I don't think you're wrong. I think the ways of thinking will change because of
Because of
the
that?
freedoms.
All right. Let's put it to work in
Claire?
a small city, 10,000 people, and I'll be the first one to applaud it.
Well, I read this interesting study about people and fast food in like lower income areas and cities, and it's kind of a situation where you're not making very much money. You can barely afford the necessities. So when you get like an extra $5, you're going to go to McDonald's, because if you save that extra $5 over time, it's going to take a really long time to have a meaningful impact on your life. Or you could just go and get like a Big Mac, and you could immediately have gratification in that extra $5. But if people were getting $1,000 more a month, then they could be like, oh, I'm going to put this away for 5 months and then buy a car. And you buy a car, maybe you buy a cheap car, maybe you buy a car with, you owe a little bit, and then you use $1,000 to pay off the car, but then you can go get a better job and you can drive to the job.
Okay, yeah, I like that. How about there's in order to qualify for UBI, you have to take training, which sort of is helping you to think smarter about what you do with your money. Right? So we up the education and give people money.
I see where you're going.
I
It's
just
coming
don't
from
think
a good place, but you don't want to go where you're going. Because you
I just don't
just
think-
said that the government's going to tell you how to spend your money. What I say is this. Check this out. There will be multiple entrepreneurs that start businesses that help teach people how to use their UBI best. Definitely. People will be failing in their UBIs, messing up, buying weird stuff, but every month they get to try again. So you don't get this landfall of cash all at once, but people will mess it up early on. They're going to fuck it up, but then there'll be some people who will start businesses and go like, hey, look, you have this much money coming in. Look at what I did here. And you can do this in your own way to start actually getting to financial freedom. And there'll be lots of those.
I don't mean the government telling you how to spend your money, just telling you, educating you on basic personal finance. Things that, a lot of times people are rich because they think a different way about their money.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm talking about that as a private entity.
So
You're talking
just-
about that as a public entity. Is that right?
Yeah, if I had my druthers, I don't want the government in my marriage or my finances or any of that.
Yeah.
So-
That's a fine want. I mean, you could want that.
But if we're compromising, if people could be a little more educated and get the money, that would be cool.
Yeah. Claire,
That's where I'm
do you
coming
think we
from.
can do a UBI with mandatory training?
It could be a thing where it's like,
Just like a driver's license.
well, the thing is, it's like if you want to get the UBI, you got to go to this class. Once,
Just like a
once,
driver's
you know.
license, you have a UBI license.
That sounds like a pretty
So that
good
way,
idea.
it's like it's not mandatory. It's just kind of like, well, if you want the money, you got to do this. Kind of
And-
like if you want to get paid, you got to show up for work.
And you can ignore the things that you learn in the class in the UBI handbook.
This is
You
what
don't-
I would do.
You
I
don't
would
have to, follow those things.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's just like we've done our due diligence. Everyone who has UBI has access to these educational resources.
Mhm.
Maybe that'll help them think
That's a
about their
good
money
idea.
in a different way.
I would give them
And
the
it can
money
be different.
first
It
and
can be-
offer it in the first year. I'd be like, UBI starts immediately, and it is either mandatory or strongly encouraged that within the first year you go to one of these classes.
I like that too. Because then you have the carrots right up front.
Yeah.
You know.
Or you could get, if you do the UBI, you can get like free job training for
Yeah.
jobs that are like needed.
Well, they do that now. I mean, you can get that anyway, but that's cool to connect, I think people, when they get the UBI at first, especially really poor people, aren't going to be thinking about, ooh, what job am I going to get? They're probably going to be thinking, what hustle can I start? And it's like, honestly, that's probably better than working for Amazon.
Well, I worked with a lot of like families in lower income, and a lot of them parents, they would totally fall for those for-profit schools.
Hmm.
They'd want to get like their medical assisting degree.
Trump University.
So
or
a lot
whatever.
of times, a lot of people fell for that, and what's sad about that is like a medical assistant, you really don't make much more than you would on welfare, and then you owe all this money to this for-profit school.
Oh,
You
right.
usually are not trained very well. So I would rather something where I think a lot of people they dream of having that middle class job. And it's just we
Yeah.
need to make it so it's attainable. I mean, I dream of a better job, so
What's your ideal job?
I have no idea. Maybe being an artist. Actually, today I was looking at oblique set strategies.
Yeah, I
I
think
got some interesting ones.
it's funny that you mentioned
was-
Brian Eno, because I feel like that would be the ideal job, is like a David Byrne type.
Yeah.
Who's like he has like this. He has his oeuvre, like he's done his time in the trenches, and now he's just hired for like these weird art projects, and he can sort of say yes or no on them, and he's very much his own like man.
Yeah, that would definitely be an ideal job.
What was the oblique
I got-
strategies one?
What was that?
What was the oblique strategies that you were gonna say?
Okay, I got 3 that I thought were good. The first one was use an old idea.
Cool.
The second one was go outside and shut the door. And the third one was tidy up.
Huh. I like this.
But I have an app on my phone. I can get more.
The
Find another oblique. I'll find one for you guys.
I love just the concept behind this, and I don't know if Drew knows about it, so I'm gonna summarize. So there's this guy, Brian Eno. He worked with Talking Heads. He's a producer, musician, and sometimes in the studio, when he was recording or producing, he didn't know what to do next. He felt like, there's a chance, something's got to happen, and I'm not sure what. So him and someone else who I'm forgetting. Peter Schmidt. They had this idea of a deck of cards that will sort of give you an abstract sort of strategy for the next step, and they called it oblique strategies. So you'll draw.
Sounds familiar.
You're like, I don't know what to do about this bass part. What do we do? You draw a card, and it's like water. And so the idea is just to fork your mind thoughts into a new sort of way of thinking about whatever it is that you're trying to get past.
That sounds cool. Water base.
And so what were
Yeah,
the
I just did another one because so it says over 100 worthwhile dilemmas. So all of these are
Yes.
worthwhile dilemmas that you put into play.
You gonna list a few of them?
I just got one. The one I just got was don't break the silence. I just got another one. The most easily forgotten thing is the most important.
the bass drum.
And then take away the important parts
Mm.
was like another one.
Let's have no snare in this song.
I've
Right?
done that.
Take away the
And
important
then it
parts.
says, this is another one. It says, faced with a choice, do both.
That's a Burning Man thing.
Turn up the bass and turn up the guitar. I'm trying to apply
What
these to
context would look
studio
right?
contexts.
What was that one?
Which one?
Oh, I keep on looking. One is try faking it.
What was
Yeah.
the... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's like, man,
Change nothing and continue consistently.
makes me
Listen
want to
to
make
the quiet voice.
make my own deck of
Yeah.
strategies.
Dude, do it. That would be awesome. I'm sure they would be hilarious.
Left click or right click instead of left click.
One is don't avoid what is easy, which I thought was cool.
Don't avoid.
One said
what is
water.
easy. Yeah, that's the one. Water. Don't avoid what is easy.
Decorate.
Be right back.
Yeah, I have
here.
an app on my
Wow.
phone, but I don't look at it too much. If you look at it too
He
much,
cracked
you'll
it.
just go crazy and look at all of them. So it's good to just like look at one or two
And think about them.
and then just move forward.
Cool. Right on. What are you most excited about for having Aubrey come to Massachusetts?
I'm so excited. I think it's going to be crazy. It's going to be 2019. Like I think for both of us, just everything's going to change.
Yeah, you guys are moving out
Our
too.
jobs
He's
are
going to
gonna
move in there, but then you guys are leaving.
Well, it's like I have one room and a bathroom. And yeah, so I think there's going to be a transition period, which transitions are always hard, but I think they're important, so we got to enjoy it.
Do your best to
Because
enjoy it, yeah.
My job, I'm the last one standing. I had a really good job last year. We opened up a new clinic. It's not working.
hmm
But I have a job. I am going to get an interview next week. But
Well, you're
we could
switching
move to
jobs.
Maine. We could move to Vermont.
You can move to Bend.
The thing is, it's like, I don't know. I'm going to go to the interview. I definitely need a new job. But whether I decide to go to Maine, Vermont, Western Mass, we might go back to the South Shore, be near our families. So either way, who knows what we might do.
So I don't know if you answered my question as to what are you most excited about
Oh,
having Aubrey move back
Just
to
having him
Massachusetts. Just having him there.
I think, yeah, like I get to see him every day. I don't have to Skype. I get to just we get to make dinner together.
Hmm.
We get to go for a walk to the pub together, play Scrabble together. I know it doesn't. We
And
can
not
go-
have the, she's
I
leaving.
don't know.
He's leaving in a couple days.
Yeah, I hate
Hovering
that.
over your head.
Claire, do you know that I've done a couple of long distance relationships?
No, I did not know, and I didn't know you lived in Chicago,
Yeah.
which I found out from last pod.
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the girl was in Chicago, and I spent like a year and a half there with her, but I was paying rent in California. And I
Oh,
would
wow.
go in between. So I basically was living in between Chicago and California full time.
Wow.
And then later, another girl my girlfriend lived like 3.5 hours drive away, and
Yeah.
and then she lived like a 1 hour drive away, and then we lived together.
Mhm.
You guys live like 1,000-year drive apart, or something like a $400 weekend apart, and that's like fuck. I mean, you can pull those together, but it's like it takes a lot of effort. What if you could just cook dinner together, do your laundry together, and not spend $400 a weekend? Just spend $100 in a weekend, go somewhere nice. You know what I mean? And then save the other $3 and buy a cool house in California later.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I'd be happy to end up in California.
if you had UBI, you could actually visit. It would make long-term relationships easier.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So,
Well,
now I'm
evacuated
totally on
transport.
board with this.
Evacuated maglev transport would make long distance relationships easy.
Oh yeah.
Well,
We've
what-
already had that combo.
What are your thoughts on?
No.
What are your
You're not
thoughts on
asking me,
long-term
Claire. I'm
relationships?
asking you the questions. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you might have got the wrong idea that you're in control of this show.
So
No.
my next question is, and this is, do your best. What are you most nervous about with Aubrey moving to Massachusetts?
What am I most nervous about?
Yeah. What's the scariest part?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous that he is not going to be happy here.
His California brain will just be like, well, it's not cool enough.
Yeah.
I hear that.
It's an Aubrey
Like, I
brain.
think it's
It's very adaptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he grew up here, so there's no surprises.
I bet. You
mean,
know,
we are pretty
he's a
cool.
wise man. He
Like-
will be surprised. I know him. He'll meet old people he knew before and be surprised by them. You know.
Mhm.
He's wise too, which is handy. But so you're okay. I hear that. Do you have any like? Yeah. So your response kind of was, "I have a flexible brain. I can do anything. I'm super cool." Okay. Yeah.
I am the water that flows into the vessel.
It's time for jumping jacks and train videos.
So I can adapt to whatever situation you put me in. And the key there is putting yourself into new situations.
Yeah. Just stepping out.
Sometimes you need a pattern break, even though it may break your heart a little bit. And you need more skin in the game. And that's where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Want more skin in the game, a little more community. It's a sad thing to leave all the creative projects and my boy, Drew.
Right.
But I know that you know that whatever makes me happiest is the best thing for me to do.
Mm-hmm. It's already true.
What about Australia? Did we already talk about that?
I'm cool with Australia.
You'd go anywhere with Aubrey, basically.
I'd go.
I've never been to Australia.
Well, you're going to spend some
You've never
time
been
in
outside the
goddamn
state?
Massachusetts first. And then you guys are going to move to California. You're going to buy lots of property. And then we'll start a cool cult, and everything will be fine.
Cult would be the
I'd
way.
like.
What would our cult be?
We have the cult of empathy and imagination,
There we
baby. But we call it the Center for Empathy.
Center, okay.
Center for Empathy and Imagination. And basically, it's like fun play for
Landmark.
adults. But way more fun. I'm thinking like, we have like pot smoking classes. And we have like
Moonwalk, inflatable moonwalk.
bicycle ride that it's too hard classes. We have like, you have to fix a thing even though it broke and you don't know what's going on classes. There'd be lots of classes, probably like candy flipping classes.
Huh. Familiar with that term, Claire?
What is it?
Candy flipping, have you heard this?
No, what is that? Wait, candy flipping?
Yeah.
No, I don't know what that is.
Some more lower moral people, below me definitely, and way more higher moral, lower moral people in the past, I've heard from old tales, they would take lysergic acid dithiamide, aka LSD, aka acid, at the same time that they also took MDMA, aka Molly, in the same evening together, and they call that a candy flip.
What would happen?
Well, you would have a euphoric, transformative experience that's both, because this is what, someone else told me. I don't even know what I'm talking about here, but it's good. What they said was hearsay. It's good to do is you take the acid first, something like noon, and then you spend about 3 hours getting used to that.
Huh.
And then maybe 4 hours, and you kind of go there into acid land, but acid lasts like 10 hours, 12 hours. So you do that. So about 3-4 hours in, you take an entry dose of MDMA, and then about 40 minutes after that, so the sun's getting lower, people sort of start to feel incredibly talkative and positive. And then you're in an experience where you're super open-minded, considering your life, considering your relationships, and then you just throw a positivity magic spell over all of it. And you go like, what is it needing? Not like what's wrong, but what is it needing? And you listen to yourself in the deepest way, and then there's no hangover of any kind.
Wow.
Yeah. You wake up the next day, and you're tired, but you can like answer math questions and drive a car. You're okay. The day after that, some people report a bit of a dip in the serotonin, so they sort of feel lonely for until dinner time on the third day. People feel a little lonely, kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing about the psychedelic drugs.
They use different juices.
They do take some juices out.
Yeah, they do. But yeah, so maybe at the Center for Empathy and Imagination, there'd be stuff like that. Also, probably advanced drumming, brewing.
Advanced drumming, bass playing.
Maybe we could have certain experts like yourself helping folks out with things you're great at, like young childhood development and such.
Printmaking.
Meditation.
Meditation. How could we forget about meditation?
Music appreciation, woodworking, roofing, framing.
Music depreciation.
Yeah, music depreciation. Like, don't appreciate this.
Yeah, like music mockery, music insulting.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a healthy satire in the cult.
There has to be some joke about itself.
Because otherwise you just become too fucking boring.
What's the joke of empathy and imagination? We're just some silly poo-poo heads? What do you...
Yeah.
We're clearly silly.
Some doo-doo heads.
Well, the band of the cult band or the group band it's kind of good, which
right.
is sort of a joke.
Yeah. It's good.
So, Claire, what role do you want to be in our cult? Are you thinking like High Queen? You thinking like Priestess of Order? Are you thinking like Witch of the Youngins? What's your title?
Archivist.
I think I like behind the scenes kind of stuff. So maybe I'll be
like Empress kind of thing.
I consider myself like archivist. I think I want to play an important role, but nobody knows what role that is.
Head librarian.
Yeah, like
it's funny. We might already have a head librarian.
The National
actually.
Archives.
I think we have my mother-in-law. She's been like a librarian for 40 years or something. So we might have a head librarian.
Marketing. I like that. You could market her.
Yeah. All right.
I could mac it.
Aubrey, what's your title at
the
Center for Empathy and Imagination? I think basically, if it's you and me starting it, I'm the consultant of empathy, and you're the Baron of Imagination or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it something like that?
We trade hats every 6 months.
Yeah, that's fine.
Trade crowns. And
I like it.
yeah, I think it's a good idea. What about? Do we have any other topics? Is there any topic that you had, Claire? You wanted to bring in? We were talking about immigration earlier.
Well, I can ask you, Aubrey. Like, what are you excited about in regards to New England? And what are you sad to be, or what are you excited about in terms of Massachusetts? What are you not excited about? And what will you miss in California?
Excited about being able to give of myself to family and loved ones in a more direct way, in a more immediate way. Psyched for, I don't know, rekindling some of the old friendships. Not psyched about sleet. Not psyched about, like, wake up, go out, warm up the car, then go back inside, shave, shower, shave, get dressed.
Really? That's
Like
the fucking routine?
20 minutes later, get in the car. It's all warmed up.
My
I'm
God.
doing that tomorrow. My car's going to be ice.
So you go outside, you turn the car on, you go back inside,
First
then you
thing.
get in the shower?
The first thing that you do is warm up your car.
I
Oh my
don't.
God.
I don't do the
I mean-
shower part.
Yeah, I've done that routine. I don't know if that's your routine, but I've done that routine. Where you wake up and immediately go out, start warming up the car, and then do your morning ritual.
Holy crap.
So the car is
I have
warm
remote
and
status
de-iced.
now.
That's right.
You can turn it on from inside your
right.
house?
I don't have that because I figured why spend the extra money. But if my driveway was, if I had to park my car further away, I would think about doing it.
Well, just think you
So
wouldn't
I
have to
wake
put your
up-
boots on, you know?
Yeah, you can just look
Yeah,
out your window.
I put,
Fuck
I
looking
go
out the
in my
window.
pajamas and turn
You-
my car on.
How
I'll
many
be doing
minutes,
that tomorrow.
but you turn it on, and then how many minutes do you give yourself before you actually pull away?
Like I usually, I mean,
It's a
5 is okay.
5?
I go 5 to 10 minutes because I
Wow.
just don't want to waste all that gas. Because I just got to warm it up so the ice comes off.
And
But
you
I'm
ha-
gonna shovel tonight. I'm a shoveler at night kind of person.
Wow.
See, that's
that way it's
you're
not-
playing a risky game there, Claire.
Because it might hit again, you know?
Well,
I know, but I
because
think
once
it
the
works
temperature
out.
drops at nighttime, it might freeze and become more shitty.
Yeah, well, right now it depends on the snow. If it's really fluffy snow, then I might leave it. But then I shovel some of it because then it's not as icy. Tomorrow I'm gonna have. Luckily, it's Martin Luther King Day, so no one's gonna be on the road. But,
Yeah, so this
except
this
me.
is the kind of shit that I'm just like, oh god. I remember this. The
You just do
the
it.
rigmarole of the seasons, right?
You'll do that here.
And
It rains
but
a
that's
little.
okay because there are other trade-offs. There's other things. But man,
Love.
does that suck. But in exchange for that, you get the foliage in the fall. Fucking beautiful, dude.
Red leaves.
Fucking beautiful.
Yes.
Just
The fall is the best season here by
it's
far.
it's living paintings. And then
It's
you have
beautiful, yeah.
brutal summers. But I think maybe I was telling you this on the last episode. I was like, you sort of miss. I sort of miss just the changes in the seasons. Like there's seasonal affective disorder where you get sad in winter and stuff. There's probably the opposite of that, where if you're
It's
just
always
in a
summer.
stasis of, oh, it's just sunny every day, like fucking Albuquerque, where it's 364 days of sun on average, that can also fuck with you. That can fuck with you in a way where it's like, wow, it just seems like, wait, what? 10 years have passed? It just what do you mean? It's all one season. It's all just one thing, right? So I'm sort of looking forward to the seasons, even though I know how brutal it is.
But there's like 2 seasons here.
Right.
It's raining now and then summertime.
There's spring and summer.
It's like spring now.
But there's no winter.
No, not really.
There's no autumn. It's like, oh, there's a few. Wait, what are these? What are these leaves on the ground? For like a week. It's literally like 2 weeks.
Or in your
what
pool.
was the third
Leaves in the pool. That's where also they go.
things I'll miss about California? I mean, you know, weather, the sort of dystopian, sort of post-apocalyptic, dystopian, edge of the world feeling of the Pacific, where it's like, yeah, this is the very edge of America.
Yep.
People just kept going west, and then they ended up here, and we're like, fuck, that's a big piece of water there. And that's like a real aesthetic here. Like that sort of
Edge of the world.
edge of the world. Everyone's a transplant.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Most people. I know you aren't.
almost everyone.
A lot of transplants. I rambled, but I tried to answer your question.
No,
Yeah.
I'm listening. It was good. Do you think you'll join some bands in Boston?
Yeah.
I want you to.
People join my band.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, I see why you're coughing now.
Just trying to share.
Now I get the coughing part.
This is
of what you were doing.
Yeah, this is expectoranty.
Got it.
Is yeah. It's a nice flavor.
I do like the idea of joining bands. Part of me is the Jimmy Page, like it's time to
Start your own band.
It's time to start our own band.
Yep.
I'm the lead guy.
Well, in Boston it's easier to play. It's easier to get live shows here, I've heard, than in the Bay Area.
That's believable. I mean, I could get a show. If you just have to keep trying and it'll work, you know, but maybe it's easier in Boston. So we have someone living above the studio here, and they're doing jumping jacks and watching train videos. So I don't know if you can hear it over the microphones, but that's what's going on. Perhaps
Save that
he's
apartment
having.
for us.
I was thinking that. So if he were to leave soon, say
Let's kick this motherfucker out.
you guys
What
live
are we
there,
waiting for?
it's $1,000. That's it. That's it. You can use our washer and
It's
dryer.
almost
They
as
don't
good
have
as
one.
the 800 and 850 in Arlington.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'd be cool if you guys were to do that. But you know, the thing is,
Arlington.
you could drive True Blue out there and make that commitment to her, and then this thing opens up and you move back into this. You know, like that could be fun.
Anything's possible.
You know, who knows?
I'm a very
I do
very
like-
mercurial guy.
I'm
and
just glad
and
you're
I'm a
making
fan
the
of
commitment
risk.
to her. I'm just glad that you're committing to her. That's what I think is cool.
I'm
So-
open. Our future is open.
Cool.
But yeah, the live band thing is real. Like, I already told people that you're coming out, and if anyone needs a bass player, and they're like, oh, he'll have no problem. And, like, my friend Kevin, who you've met, he's been in bands where they don't have time to practice because they just play live
Huh.
all
Right.
the time. Like, their practice is their live show,
Well, that's the ideal.
weekly.
That's the ideal.
Yeah, weekly live show. That's practice. That's the ideal.
That's the ideal. And Sausalito was sort of there.
Yeah, you're
We'd
just
have
getting there.
We'd have one practice before a show.
But that's
We were
fine.
at that point.
You were still new though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I am sad about you leaving your bands and the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, boys in their bands, always having bands and shit. You know, you can't.
It's hard to.
You can't. It's hard to live without a woman. You can't live without a woman. If
Yeah,
you're,
I mean,
you're just
so-
a red-blooded
Yeah.
American boy like myself.
Yeah, it's like it's all fun to have your cool. Like I'm an artiste and I live dangerously, but I sleep alone and masturbate, and you know it's like,
Right.
well, okay, cool.
I play video games. I play video games every day. And my whole life is black and white.
Ugh.
It's a black and white film, and I'm smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
But there'll be a lot to do. I think you'll be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you'll have fun.
You know, I hear your
We'll go on.
concern that you want to be, you know, empathetic to his needs as a big city kid. Now he's a big city kid. Of course, there's
Well, I feel like
there's Boston, or was it Boston?
Boston, there you go.
Boston.
Boston.
But now he's a San Francisco boy, and the thing is, Boston or Arlington or Weymouth is going to be much fucking smaller. So there's going to be a shift,
A lot
but
more
that's
college kids.
okay.
Still very much a college town.
Yeah, there's more colleges here. We're probably more of a college town
Yeah.
than Bay Area.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
fun.
it's pretty close.
fun.
You guys have a lot of colleges, but
it's
we have
fun.
colleges that are closer.
It's fun to compare the cultures. Not playing favorites at all, but it's fun to just compare and contrast. It makes me love America even more.
And by the way, Boston is windier than Chicago.
See?
Huh.
Chicago is the windy city because
That
of
fucking
politics.
sleet.
Because they were just full of, like, it was
Oh,
windy
really?
because of the politics.
Because the politicians
Not
were
because
just
the actual wind.
windbags?
It was, yeah. Just basically,
Blowing
that was
hot-
why they were called
Blowing hot air.
The
blowing hot
Windy
air.
City.
Huh.
But, like, Boston is, like, one of the windiest cities in America. With
Is it because everyone's farting at the same time?
Probably. All the beans.
All those
And
beans.
Boston
actually-
baked beans.
Everyone is farting.
Actually, it's funny,
No one is drinking tea.
This,
Everyone threw their tea overboard and everyone's eating beans.
But only the dog
and
has
we
the
had the
recipe.
molasses tsunami 100 years ago last week.
The molasses tsunami.
Yeah, this people died. Like a
Yeah, you
big
should
molasses
tell Drew
tower
about it.
Exploded. There's crazy pictures. So,
Tell us about the molasses
So, yeah.
tsunami.
Yeah, tell us about the molasses tsunami.
it was in the north end of Boston,
Fucking not that,
and I think it was something to do. It was a tower full of molasses, and it's something about the alcohol they used for some reason, and it exploded.
It was like a water
And just
tower, but filled
went-
with molasses.
And it just went everywhere, and people drowned, and like there's
Oh, it's
It's
so
gross.
crazy.
and then they had to clean it up. So
Drowning in molasses.
People died
yeah, people died.
from a tower
I'll
of
look
sugar.
it up right now. What is it?
A tower of sugar.
Yeah, there's some crazy pictures.
Dude, fucking, I want a mayonnaise a water tower full of mayonnaise.
Halfway frozen.
I want a water tower fucking filled to the brim with mayonnaise, dude.
Oh yeah.
Imagine that.
Well, check this fucking shit out.
Okay, the
see
Great
the other
Molasses Flood.
Oh, there it is.
Flood. Oh,
Okay,
this is,
It
it's
was
such a this is
also-
such a Boston fucking story.
yeah, and like when you're a kid, you go on the Freedom Trail, and they're like, and on a summer day, you can still smell the molasses, which is bullshit.
Right.
But
There's all
okay,
that,
so it
a
happened.
lot of that British
occurred on
bullshit still held over in Massachusetts and East Coast.
January 15th, 1919, in the North End, a large storage tank burst filled with 2,300,000 gallons of molasses. And a wave of molasses rushed
Pretty
through
sweet.
the streets at 35 miles per hour, killing
Whoa.
21 and injuring 150. The event entered local folklore, and residents claimed for decades afterwards that the area still smelled of molasses on hot summer days.
It probably did, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
35 mile an hour wave of fucking hot,
But it's-
liquid, syrupy molasses.
Why was it hot? Molasses is like characteristically slow.
Okay, but the
You got
I know.
enough- you got
The
enough
disaster
force behind
occurred
it.
at the Purities Distilling Company on January 15th. The temperature had risen above 40 degrees Fahrenheit, climbing rapidly from the frigid temperatures of preceding days. Molasses can be fermented to produce ethanol, the active ingredient in alcoholic beverages, and a key component in munitions. The stored molasses was awaiting transfer to the purity plant in Cambridge. And blah blah blah. Okay.
People
stood
died.
at 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter.
Wow.
And witnesses reported that they felt the ground shake and heard a roar as it collapsed. A long rumble similar to a passing elevated train. Others reported tremendous crashing, a deep growling, a thunderclap-like bang, and a machine gun-like sound. The molasses density is 1.4 tons, more dense than water. So it had great deal of potential energy.
Mm-hmm.
So the collapse translated this energy into a wave of
So
molasses
it was
25
a silo
feet high.
that like collapsed like this, and all the mayonnaise, wishful thinking, all the molasses spewed out the bottom sides. Is that right?
The wave was 25 feet high and was moving at 35 miles per hour. So
Dude, that's a nightmare.
Is there a video of this?
That's a nightmare fuel.
there's pictures. 'Cause it was 1919.
Black
Huh.
wave, syrupy wave, 25 feet high,
Of sugar.
moving 35 miles an hour. Just
Killing 21 people. Okay.
And then it was
kind
two.
of
And then
kind of a sweet death, though.
yeah, it's crazy.
Shut.
So it just knocked down buildings, and then the streets were like 2 to 3 feet with covered with molasses. It's crazy.
Damn, I guess the bakeries were probably psyched. Like,
Well, if
Free coating.
I would have been just like freaking scooping it up by the bucket and taking it home. I mean, it's like you could brew with it. You know, there's
just
shovel in your mouth hot. Okay.
There
Ladies,
probably were looters. There probably were.
who wouldn't? Everyone would be
molasses looters.
scooping. If it was 2 feet high in the street, wouldn't you be scooping it up?
Yeah,
Although it might be really dirty at that point.
it's like debris and
Yeah.
I need to warn the audience. We are, because of the wires situation, we're now getting down to the few minutes of excellent audio for our camera show machine.
Okay.
Okay, should I sign off?
That is one option. I'm ready to. I have a song from the past that Aubrey and I made that I just want to share with us, and I think it'd be cool if you listen to it. Claire, can you listen to the song with us?
Sure, I can either go off and listen to the song, or I could stay on, whichever is better for you guys.
Stay on. How do I see the other view?
The batteries are low. My batteries are low.
They're low.
My batteries are low.
Charger connected. Charger connected.
Join me. Use technology to spread around. Use technology to bass solo by Aubrey. to spread things around.
The batteries are low.
Batteries are
The batteries are low.
my batteries are low. To That was Charger Connected by It's Kinda Good.
Charger connected.
All right, Claire. We love you. Everyone loves you.
All
You're
right.
the best.
Thanks
We're
for
hanging up now on the phone. And
Thanks
we're
for
gonna,
sticking around.
All right.
Yeah,
see you
thank
later.
you. We're going to finish up this podcast. Bye. Aubrey.
What do we got?
You have the main camera now. And it's time for you to finish up with something that's been on your mind. You know, think about what's been on your mind.
Transitions. Moving transitions. The usual. Should we wrap it up? Should we end it out?
We can. I have an urge to continue, but
We can continue. Do we have audio? Way to do audio?
yeah.
Charge your phone and do audio at the same time. You, Tim Cook. Thank you, Tim Cook. Fucking us. Fucking our audio.
The cables are now messed up now.
Thank you. Luckily, the multi-track audio is still pristine.
Look at it later. And the thing is, the audio from the phone's actually not that bad.
Cool. Let's continue. Let's continue, despite Tim Cook trying to fuck us.
All right. Yeah. So that was some sounds good from. I feel like I kind of want to. I don't know. Potentially share something else too. I don't know.
The clip show? You want to do... I'm hesitant to do a clip show.
What's a clip? What do you mean?
Like, old stuff that we've done. It would be fun.
Oh.
It would be fun to do. I didn't know if that's where you were going.
It could be. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
But, it ain't over till it's over. You know what I mean?
Certainly isn't.
Baby, oh, what till it's over. So we have things like...
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Welcome to the podcast for Empathy and Imagination. My name is Aubrey Cloutier, and I'm Drew Clark. I don't think I have, I don't know if I have, it's kind of good stuff on here.
Yeah. What do you have that we've made together? I mean,
Music. It's kind of good. I don't have that, I wish I had the, vampire song. I must have it somewhere.
I can make it happen. I can play Vampire, that's right. So, hey, you know, there are so many wires, and we do our best to make the wires work, and it mostly is, but this device, the Apple iPhone 8, now only has one hole in it, the holes for the lightning cable. So I can't actually do audio and power, and it was like slurping the bottoms of its juiceability, so I had to plug it in so that the live stream could continue with, of course, this delightful multicam. Look at, we're just like absolutely out of control with this delightful multicam. I'd just like also to say that the podcast for the Baby is brought to you by Zeiss Digital. ZICED.net. Also, Clark Pool and Spa. Clark Pool and Spa. ClarkPoolSpa.com. So, great. Back to me. That was good, right? So there's this. I'm really glad this is up here, and I think this is something else we can share. There's Aubrey and there's me. I think this is a veil oblate, if you know what I mean. This is us live. We're watching it. Oh yeah, and pull up the final tracks too. Play it one or two of those. The first show. The good best one.
The conference?
City, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was a good show.
Yeah, that's the best one. I'm supposed to honestly.
No one crank it down, but
Wes. It looks good here on the feed.
okay.
And it's actually hearing it because my headphones are on. Oh, Albert, if you plug those headphones in, Steve just poked his head in. We can plug them in here. I think we're using. And then the feed is audio would still be getting the fucking thing because the microphone.
You mean plug in the other set of headphones?
Yes, please. Hand them to me. And Steve poked his head in, so I think he was interested in
Oh,
watching
okay.
something. So we could give him to him too. So, you know. But for now, I'll use them, and then the audio will continue as full-scale audio.
Oh, I see. I see what's happening. I didn't catch that at first.
Perfect. Yes.
What was the name of that place? The Nest? The
Yes.
Nest? Empty Nest? What was the name of that venue? This venue.
North Beach something?
Fuck. You bother me. Very good.
We could do stuff for these videos too.
It's actually, we play it differently than this one, this version.
It's a little bit different from the album.
Like that. But
And there we go. That
Yes.
is us playing live at the venue in San Francisco, our first show. And I just feel like sharing some of our co-projects here. I think did you have an audio file of a recent studio recording?
Yeah, I'm trying to pull that up now, but I'm also trying to kill time, so
Yeah.
that it seems like a natural transition, like I already had it queued up, but obviously it's loading.
Yeah.
And I'm watching the progress bar right now, but as soon as this sentence ends, the song should start.
I love that we have the audio and we're plugged in. There it is.
Very good. It almost seems like the time for a.
We can stand up and play along. Do like a playthrough, you know?
Let's play.
I don't really want to, though.
Stand here. The Soundgarden part.
kind of a long outro. Long outro.
That's the style. That's sweet. So sweet. Man, we've made a lot of cool stuff. We also have this other song I think you're familiar with. And there's a bit of a little video to go with it as well.
Hit me.
You're gonna love it. So we're just pulling it up here.
I'd like to thank our sponsor, Final Corp, for
Yeah,
all their
thank
hard
you.
work and all their hard mayonnaise that they've sent us over the years.
Yeah, have you been using your solid mayo?
Solid mayo?
Yeah.
It's a new thing.
I mean, they sent us each a block of the solid mayo. I mean, you use it like a pumice stone, where you kind of grind it onto your food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have you been using it with your grinder?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I tend to lube it up with my special mayo oil
Holy shit.
by Final Corp. God damn it, I don't have that volcano song.
I have it.
So, to Final Corp, thank you very much.
You know, solid mayo was a hard sell because everyone likes it because
Literally.
it's a creamy thing. So, you know, it's like you want to smear it. You want to help us slide mayonnaise onto food is the phrase, you know. So you think solid mayo and you're like, well, I mean, I don't know about this. But let me tell you. You just grind it on things like a pumice stone. And here we go.
Did we sample? Oh, I know what you're taking this from. We had a little mini Burning Man out there. I remember.
There we go. Dude.
That's it. I had lyrics. I wrote lyrics for this too. It's funny.
I was hoping
We
we'd
never
be
did the
performing
lyrics.
this live as part of It's Kinda Good.
We never did the lyric part.
I figured we'd figure it out. 2,000 miles, 10,000 feet, 9 trips, bicycle camping, 2015. We fucking demolished that. We had like 4 trips the next year and then 1 trip the year after that. You know? Really fell off. It's hard to do.
It's hard to do, man.
There's not time for one more before you leave.
Life transitions.
Yeah. There isn't time. Right?
Could there be?
I don't. Is there?
Something to think about right there.
If we could do one more before you left. Fuck. Ooh.
Oh yeah, there's some vocals. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we did a little bit.
I remember having verse lyrics.
And then we have this drop beat here. Remember we did this in Richmond with the fucking whacked out. You just brought over all your gear. And then we like recorded some of it at your place or something like You were the guy. You showed up with a wheel cart of recording equipment. You're like, Drew, that's what we're doing today. We're smoking weed, drinking beer, and recording music.
Yeah, and we used like a like a bucket or something for the snare drum. Or no, we used your actual snare drum, but we had
Pillows or
taped.
Yeah.
We had a taped fake bass drum and the snare on like the tom stand.
So, yes. Oh yeah, and there's this.
Yeah, I remember that now. I have a picture of that somewhere. Fuck. Because it was like the shittiest setup.
Oh, it was a nightmare. You were like, yeah, double bass. I was like,
yeah, man, fuck.
This is good. Vampire standing on the edge of a volcano by It's Kinda Good.
Nice.
And then... Oh, shit. Oh, shit. This is like a split music video, basically. Because this is like one of the songs I made in solitude.
Dun, 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 dun.
Turkeys.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun.
My neck.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Beautiful nature. Thick, luscious California. Just untouched. Side of the road. Ooh, you're in key.
I think it's in C.
Yes, Aubrey.
Nice. I like it.
We just rocked. Now, are we sharing more of our work together? Is that what's happening? There it is. I feel like it needs to be cranked. I gotta crank this up.
I mean, it's fucking clipping over there.
All right, cool. Are we cranked? I'm cranked. Let's do it.
It's not, but...
I think I need to stand up. That's what it is. I have to stand up.
There you go. Okay. It needs to be cranked there. Be cranked there. Mosh pit. Mosh pit. Mosh pit. Have a boxing match. The video is a boxing match.
Is it? Are you doing that, or are you doing? It's hot. I was never that psyched about this part. It's like Ben's, it's sort of Ben's riff.
Right. Yeah.
It's like I'm just following what Ben's doing. But when it comes back, it's like the coming back in the next part. It's like, right here. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's good shit. Fuck. Damn it. We're always like, you can tell they clipped that part. That's pretty righteous. Fuck you, right. The guitar is so cool. That guitar line's so awesome.
The one.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That was the guest speaker's apotheosis.
My gosh. Okay, that was cool.
Do you want to have Steve on? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. How will we do that? I'll get him. I'll give him these.
And we can just use the room mic for the...
I don't think he's gonna talk. I think he just wants to check it out.
Okay.
I think that's an audience member. Get a topic ready. You have 5 seconds. Get a topic ready.
Get a what?
Topic. Steve, we borrow you for a minute? Just to come listen for the show. Just sit on the outside and listen.
No connection. Did our internet go down?
No, it couldn't have.
Fuck.
Here, put these on. Go see here.
Why? What happened? I don't know which. Whoops. Which?
Hello.
Connected. Okay. Good. Great.
Did you have a thing there?
Final Corp is our sponsor, eternally.
Mm.
Final Corp has such award-winning products as girlfriend canceling headphones and their counterpart, boyfriend canceling headphones.
Yeah.
Both very, very useful.
Yeah, one pink, one blue.
Shouting-based reminders.
Mm-hmm.
Time to go to the dentist!
Yeah.
Just obnoxious reminders that shout at you at maximum volume.
Yeah. You can't actually turn it down. Final Corp's
You cannot
specific
turn it
thing.
down.
Shouting-based reminder is really when you have you set in your calendar and it goes like, "Hey, go to the gym!" You know, it's like that. And you can't turn it down. You could be in a meeting. You can even turn your phone off, and it's like, "You're late to pick up your kids!" You know, something like that.
Because what better way to get motivated
Than shouting.
than to be yelled at?
Hey, are you guys aware of Final Corp's product, the Mister?
No.
No?
I don't. Sounds familiar.
So the Mister is it's applied with something like a bottle capper. I mean, we have one. Yeah, it's probably nearby. And essentially, it goes on the end of a man's part, and instead of a boring old stream when you pee, it's a delightful mist. Think of it. All of the benefits you get from peeing in a mist.
Never really had thought about it as an activity that was boring or even interesting.
Well, just think about it, because if you have okay, so you're in the golf course.
Okay.
You're on hole number 4, and you're in the game.
I'm in the game.
If you were to pull your penis out and just put a stream of urine down on the field, that would not be kosher. There would be complaints from other people. I think it wouldn't fit.
But if it was to be dispersed in a fine mist,
Imagine.
you're saying it would almost be.
You're at Coachella.
It would be more acceptable.
You're at Coachella right now. People are people are misting things hither and yon, and all of a sudden you have the zipper attachment, so you're just wearing your jeans. No penis is out. There isn't any kind of exposure. You're just walking along, and there happens to be a fine mist extruding from your jeans, and it just lays down on the grass, and everyone's fine.
People are refreshed. People are.
It's more refreshing, really. Think about it.
Think about it at Burning Man.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you just mist into the wind in a dust storm. You're just mist up. They might say.
Mist up.
Yeah, mist up.
People be willingly walking into your misting
to cool off because it's so hot. But think of the dust storm. It's just a light mist.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, there's another Final Corp asked us to talk about Restercise.
That's
familiar?
right.
Yeah. Do you remember? So Restercise is this thing where it's a pill form. So many people are strung out on work. They have too much going on. They're too busy. They're driving their kids here. They're doing this and that. They don't have time to go to the gym. And a lot of people have sleep problems. Think about the last time you had a good restful. How long has it been since you've had a great restful night of sleep?
I have nightmares about not getting enough sleep.
Yeah, me too. So Restercise, thank you, Final Corp, is finally on board with this. So what happens is it's a pill. You take a pill, and it's a double whammy because it puts you to sleep while it increases your heart rate to a full aerobic exercise mode. So Restercise, you take the pill.
I like this.
The heart rate increases.
I like this.
It starts to go, and it just gets really, really pumped up. And then you start to just feel the heaviness of the pill take on, and you're tired. You're tired too. So you're sleeping.
You're working out while you're sleeping.
You're working out while you're sleeping.
You wake up tired as fuck.
Because you're Restercise.
You know, that sounds pretty good. Waking up super tired.
Well, I mean, Restercise, I think, advocates that you would wake up generally somewhat refreshed. It's somewhat refreshed.
Somewhat refreshed. But not as refreshed as if you had gotten a full night's sleep.
But just think of it. You can squeeze exercise into sleeping. Now, with Restercise.
You're starting to sell me on this
Yeah.
Restercise.
So Final Corp, Restercise.
It sounds pretty good. I can get a full night's sleep and
A full workout.
a full workout.
Run
All
2
in one?
marathons and a full night's rest.
I'm there.
Yeah.
1999.
Yeah.
As seen on TV.
I see it on TV. Okay, thank you.
Hell yeah, Restercise.
Yeah, my computer's down. That's good.
It's like increasing your blood pressure as it's depriving you of sleep.
Well, I mean, you get to sleep because it has a powerful, relaxant. What's the word? No, it's like a stimulant's the opposite direction. This is a depressant. It's a powerful depressant at the same time of it being powerful stimulant. So it's really like it stimulates you and depresses you same time. Full speed.
It's crazy, man, how it truly, I mean, all satire aside, it is pretty crazy how fucking dialed in with almost every human feeling and emotion we can get with drugs.
Yeah.
That there's a drug for almost any point on the rainbow of human emotions.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Is that good? I mean, is that a good thing?
Well, I think the use of external forces to do a state change, like beer or cannabis, has value. And you can have a state change without any
To an
drugs.
extent, yeah.
You can have a state change without any drugs at all. You can meditate or
Yes.
focus on something and a
Walking
full
naked.
state change. Smiling. Just forcing yourself to smile. If you force yourself to smile, you'll eventually have a state change where it changes how
Or
you
go like
feel.
this. You always be going like this and smiling.
Yeah, you go like this. Is this smile? You'll feel different eventually. So it's like whatever you're using to feel different, human brains are always trying to feel different.
Okay.
So drugs are good, stretching is good, meditation is good. They're all good.
Don't get
Hiking.
too caught up in any one thing.
Yeah. If you hike too much, then you never know, you could have a hiking problem.
Could hike right off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah, what if you had too many shoes to hike in and you just kept hiking all the time? You're like, well, I haven't used these new shoes and they're orange. They have
That's
orange
my
stripe
hiking
on.
problem. Yeah.
I'm going to have a hiking problem. So you get the
I
boots
have a
out.
hiking problem. I
You get
admit
out
it.
there on the Pacific Coast Trail and you're just alone and you poop in your pants and you can't stop hiking. You can't do it.
That is interesting because there is sort of a hiking. I mean, the hiking problem would be like wanderlust, and you can't settle down.
Okay, yeah.
You feel restless no matter where you are. There's something to that. If you're gonna be restless no matter where you are, America's the place to do it.
Have you ever had a bowling problem?
No, my bowling score is pretty on point.
But have you ever bowled too much? Like where
No.
you were bowling 4 nights a week and you were borrowing from people to bowl?
Never had a problem with bowling, gambling, or like hard drugs.
Yeah. If you have a problem with I don't know. The thing about a problem with bowling, though, is it takes a lot of effort to get addicted to bowling. You have to buy the shoes. You have to buy the ball.
What's the
You
payoff? What are you working
The
towards?
payoff is a community. You get a solid bowling community.
I love bowling.
Yeah, but
It seems like out of my it seems weird to me to be addicted to bowling.
But badminton too. People get addicted to badminton, especially in high
Yeah.
school. People.
I think life itself is a litany of addictions, which is to say that you're always addicted to something. What that is varies, but you could be addicting to podcasting, for example, because it gives us the endorphin rush. We get to hang out with each other.
It's live.
Of course, I'm addicted to it.
It's great. Yeah.
Who wouldn't be?
There are a couple people watching this live right now, so I kind of have an audience too.
I think so.
I think
Most
so.
people.
Well, you can tell. There's a few. Yeah.
But I think life itself is addiction. Like you're sort of addicted to life.
Or cinnamon.
Itself.
Or eggs. All of it. I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, cinnamon, eggs. Okay, that's like you're getting an eggnog territory there.
Well, I'd welcome a heavy creamed, highly sugared beverage
Love eggnog.
once a year, You know, you can't. If you had eggnog year round, your butt would look like a bag of cotton.
Is that why they don't market it year round? Is that why it's a seasonal thing?
No.
To save us?
No. It's
From our
because
own
we wouldn't
addiction
buy
to
it.
eggnog?
No one's buying eggnog in July. You're like, I wanted it.
Why not?
Well, because you're thinking
I
about
want
ice
it.
cream.
Okay.
But why not have eggnog ice cream in July? Because people want like mint chocolate chip or vanilla hazelnut or strawberry rhubarb or any other crap.
It's like diamonds. You know, diamonds weren't a thing. Diamonds weren't really a thing.
Compressed coal.
Diamonds weren't associated with marriage.
Huh.
At one point in time, right? And it was like mid 1800s or early 1900s even, where it wasn't expected that you had a diamond ring. Diamonds weren't even in the equation.
But there was rings.
There was no diamonds are forever. Diamonds are a girl's best friend. That was the marketing.
Like metal, some kind of metal that I found.
That's all marketing.
Yeah.
And it's fucked to realize that that's all marketing because it's defined everybody's marriage for so long.
And yet you need to come up with a wedding ring soon.
Perfect marketing.
Oh, it's raining. You hear that?
We'll talk about that.
It's coming down right now.
We'll talk about the wedding ring thing.
Yeah. What do are you going to buy her a ring? This girl who was on the show?
She's listening right now.
Well, good.
So I can't say too much.
Okay, cool. Well, then, is it secret?
Yes. No.
What can you say to the audience of the podcast of Empathy and Imagination?
Look, everyone's got to live their own life, and who was I to resist the pull of the great magnet?
So you're going to buy a ring?
The great magnet, you can resist it, but you cannot escape it.
No. You can cheapify it. Like this was an inexpensive ring. That's
I
me.
love that. Yeah,
It's
I just want some little
$80 or something,
a chintzy little thing.
Yeah.
But
Do you is there a part of you that wants to give her like a giant shiny thing to wear? Is that like, or is it more like you just rather she has a band to know it's real?
Something to know it's real. It doesn't need to be gaudy.
It's just a
fucking
band.
Absurd. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be ostentatious. Like a big old diamond. I mean,
Who's gonna afford that anyway? I mean, it's
I'm not
3
dissing.
years
I'm not
salary.
dissing that, but it's like I don't know. For me, it's more of an internal recognition than it is some sort of materialistic thing.
Yeah, that's the point of it too. It's something about you give a thing to her, and then you share that, and
Yeah.
It's shininess is sort of a secondary cultural thing. I think it can be smooth.
And again, the whole idea of a diamond is also cultural. That was totally manufactured.
Yeah. Like, have you heard of the new mayonnaise ring? Well, it's petrified mayo in ring form. Yeah.
That's interesting. Unique.
It's a creamy light yellow ring. So it's like a diamond, but imagine opaque and yellowish.
That would be unique and interesting.
I wonder how many people in the United States and in Europe where mayonnaise is their favorite condiment.
Isn't it like France?
Well, I bet in the U.S. you got like something like 30 to 40% of Americans are like, yeah, mayo. I want that first on my hot dog,
Philly.
on my hamburger, on my sandwich, and my salad. I want mayo.
Well, you got the potato salad. So you have the whole potato salad part of the U.S., which is huge in the Midwest.
And then German potato salad is mayo.
So that's the all Midwest right there. Huge mayonnaise
California,
pile.
the avocado toast, it's got mayo on it too. You think the BLT of California, it all has mayo on it. And then you go to Texas. What do you get in Texas? Is you get sauces. And there's sauces for
The mayo
barbecue and
fries?
mayo mixed in. Yep. Go to Europe. They slap
Dipping your
mayo,
fries in mayo.
Everything. Everything is dipped in mayo. They might as well deep fry entire live cows in mayonnaise.
It's a universal sort of condiment.
Yeah. It's literally the best condiment ever. And it is my favorite, and many brilliant men I know, it's their favorite condiment too.
I think garlic aioli. I'm a huge fan of garlic aioli.
Yeah, mix in garlic there, and you're just you're speaking my language. If you were to somehow have beer and mayo
I could
together,
have garlic aioli on anything.
yeah, fries,
Omelet.
steak,
Pancake.
omelet, pancake, yeah, like cheesecake, anything, just anything.
Soup.
Soup,
Other
yeah,
other
drum kit.
Other mayonnaise.
Yeah, you have regular mayo and cover it with a garlic aioli mayo and just. Would you just kind of spoon it in your mouth? Would you put some of it in your nose too and sort of snort it just to kind of really get the full
Yeah.
aromas in, or how
Powdered mayonnaise. Yeah.
Well, if I have a mayo kind of, I was smushing it on my face for skin reasons and flavor reasons. I might push some of it up the nose and snort it in just to kind of get it on the inner walls of my nose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have a little mayonnaise crusties in there.
Well, if I was lucky enough, I would hope it would absorb in like a conditioner. You think people use mayonnaise to condition their hair? I'm thinking nostril conditioner, mayo. Also mouth conditioner. I think you could probably spread it around the
gross.
upper mouth.
It's so disgusting.
Bottom of the tongue, you just gotta set it. Just kind of leave it there and set it in. And you can have kind of a conditioner of the mouth and nose.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'll try not to vomit when I think of it.
Okay.
My exposure to how gross mayonnaise was, like what put me over the edge, was as a kid, my grandmother made a gelled meat casserole. So this was like all the odds and ends, all the remnants from all the meat. You basically gel them and then you make like a cake out of it. And it's frosted with mayonnaise.
Wow.
I don't know, to me...
Frosted, like a frosting of direct, clear, only mayo?
Mayonnaise. So a gelled meat casserole, it's in a casserole dish. Then you cakeify it, you bake the gelled meat and you flip it over, then you coat that with mayonnaise. This is a real thing. This is like my grandmother's
Is this
from
French
Colorado.
food?
Colorado. She's from Colorado, Midwest.
It's just Midwest food. Just
And
meat and mayo in a pie.
Meat and mayo, just whatever you have laying around, you reuse, right? So that's why you have stews and preserves and gelled meat casseroles.
Would you put jelly, like a fruit
And
jelly
it was
mix
just like
into
the
it?
most disgusting concept.
No, you liked it. You ate it.
I didn't eat it. I saw it. I didn't eat it.
Did your
I
brother
didn't
eat
need
it?
to. I didn't need to. Just hearing about it. If I had seen it before it was described to me, I probably would have eaten it.
Because it looks appetizing?
Yeah, it just looks like a cake with white frosting, right? But it's actually a meat cake with
Mayo.
mayonnaise frosting.
That's like Evan's nightmare. Oh my gosh.
And that to me just sent fucking shivers up my spine. It was so disgusting. Like it was just like humans actually. This is a thing.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
It was amazing.
Amazing.
It was amazing that anyone would actually consider eating this thing. And that's where my love and disgust for mayonnaise originated. And here we are.
Here we are.
Thanks for listening. That's my story of mayonnaise.
Yeah, well, do you have any,
I'm getting all kinds of feedback here from
listeners?
I don't need a ring. Danny makes rings.
We got live stream feedback on rings. That's good.
Grandma's. About rings, yeah.
Okay, cool. So you're clear.
Something I meant to talk about off the podcast. I was talking about
here
on
it
the
is.
podcast, so get immediate feedback.
Well, here it is, Aubrey. You've
Beautiful.
done the hard work of.
Beautiful thing.
This is the, it's how it goes. It's all how it goes. That's fine. All right. If there was a way to possibly squeeze in an Aubrey story and or garden update, I can do a garden update while you pull up an Aubrey story. Is there a potential Aubrey story available?
How about this? I'll give you 1,000 words in one image.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Look at that guy. All right. Let's see. We're gonna make this.
This is skateboarding at the bandstand in Hull, Massachusetts, and that was my first skateboard.
Wow.
That I got. It was Tommy Guerrero, and I got full black grip tape on the top. Usually they left a little strip so you can see the logo of the skateboard, but I was like, no man, I just want it all black. And they thought I was a weirdo, and then that became normal. But that's a Tommy Guerrero.
You're in
Powell
midair.
Peralta.
What kind of move are you
It's
doing
probably
here?
1990,
How old are you?
15.
What's this move you're doing here?
Just doing a bomb drop, which is just jumping off of a ledge onto your board.
Huh.
It looks way more badass than what I'm actually doing.
It was a good camera angle.
It's a good camera angle, that's about it.
Cool. Wow. I like that.
I'm trying so fucking hard
To
to skateboard. I wasn't that good. But that picture makes it look like I was actually good. Whatever.
yeah.
Anyway, everything good over there? You got
We
what's
got
going on?
and hello. There we go. We're back with hi-fi audio and plenty of battery. So, is the show over, or do you have a story? You have that picture? No. All right, that's cool.
You want more pictures?
Do you have more? He's got it here. Okay. Here it is. Wow, look at this guy. What year is this?
1991.
You're unrecognizable. It like I don't know what it is.
Full head of hair, thinner face,
You're like a stick figure child.
super thin.
I barely.
The nose is the same, the eyes is the same.
But all these photos, you're like looking down. There's no like straight on you looking up at the
Oh,
camera.
there we go. That's college.
Holy shit! Look. Okay, no, hold this.
Dark poet. You want dark poet? There we go.
Those fucking mutton chops and the hair. You have the hair is. It's cool and curly. You look like a
It is curly.
dangerous author.
It's very curly hair.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. That's super hipster too.
Oh my gosh. Dude, the chops. You had some serious.
I kind of missed having chops like that.
You could still do chops. You just shave your beard, you know?
Get used to the beard. Here's one when I was like 15. Super. That's like the first day of skateboarding.
You in the bottom center there?
Round faced.
You kind of look like a rich kid.
I know. I was the poorest of the three kids there. By wicked far. I wanted to be a rich kid,
Yeah.
but I was a poor kid.
Well, do you have anything else to say about the change that's coming? Any words of the future, golden age prompts for this shift you're encountering?
Well, again, the war is won in the mind. The new war of winning, if there's a war, it's in the mind. It's not a war of resources. It's not a war of we don't have enough of this or that. And our podcast is a demonstration of that. We've always just used what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what we have in new ways, and it just keeps getting better and better and better and better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we keep getting resources, but because we keep thinking in different ways about what we already have.
Mm-hmm.
That's the future,
Yeah.
and that's good advice at any time.
I appreciate that.
And it's going to be, it's bittersweet, man.
Yeah.
Has to be done, though.
Yep. There's a sweet part too.
I'm gonna miss the in-person podcasts.
Yeah.
but we're gonna probably replace it with something else.
Yeah, hopefully.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, hope so.
And keep working with what we already have, make things better.
Yeah. Well, we have to.
That's
We
my
get
part,
to.
That's my parting thought.
Okay, I appreciate that. I feel like we need like some nice outro music from the deep tracks,
All right.
and let's finish this thing up. Oh my gosh. Oshbagosh. Oh my gosh. This has been the podcast for empathy and imagination. This has been the podcast for empathy and imagination. If you come across someone who is angry, then just listen to them by pausing your story. Pause your story.